Just a couple of guys, a couple microphones, and a heck of a lot of know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy holidays, and welcome to Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Noodles? Welcome back for another edition.
Yeah, Joe.
And in Football on the Know show here. Also, it's our holiday special. If you haven't noticed, Mr. Rogers is to the right of me.
Hashtag know it all.
And we are going to dive into some interesting things that are happening around the league. We are right down the final stretch of the regular season, heading into the playoffs. A lot of things can change, even though there's only a couple weeks left of this great season of ours. A lot of things can go lopsided with some of the seeding that's going on, and it's extremely close. And Jim, the most insane stat that I saw today was that, believe it or not, technically, there are still 30 teams that have a chance, whether it be bigger or smaller, that still have a chance to make the playoffs. 30.
Yeah, 30, and it ends up being like 5%. I think there's a 5%.
No, it's even
chance.
less than that.
Yeah,
like
because even I think the 32nd team has like a
no, they're
1%
out.
or something.
30
like that,
seconds
right?
out. The 30th team is like, it's like 0.9%.
Is it? Yep.
It's like so low, it's not going to happen.
Right.
But
right.
like all those
So you're saying
teams,
there's a chance.
whether it be like 25% or lower, they all need help. They need to not only win, but they also need help from other teams.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. This has been an up and down year in the league here, and it's surprising every week.
Very unpredictable.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I guess some of the things, though, that aren't very surprising is now I guess that the Philadelphia's really still just can't beat the Seattle Seahawks here in Seattle, especially. But, yeah, we're going to run over some games here. But before that, we got a couple of questions out there, again, for you guys out there. It is our Christmas special or holiday special. My first question out there for you guys even there. What's your favorite Christmas movie? Throw it out there.
Yeah.
We've got Brandon is in the house with us tonight.
Yeah, Brandon Degener chimes in. He said Home Alone for sure. Yes, that's
There
a
you go.
classic.
Hashtag know it all.
That is a classic. Absolutely has to be on there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So let us know. Let some more in the comments too. And yeah, just play right along with us. So yeah, Joe, some interesting games this week. I think nothing more surprising, from certain aspects, even the scoring and how, the different was there. But that Thursday night game, which I thought was going to be a snoozer, and then I end up snoozing through, that night even. And then I woke up, and then everybody's talking about the 63 points and the mayhem that incurred throughout that game. And now Brandon Staley has finally got,
See you later,
got
Brandon.
the axe, buddy. He's finally gone here.
As one of our coaches that we had a tally on possibly being jettisoned out.
That is one big pile of shit.
And rightfully so. I mean, this guy was brought in as a defensive-minded guy, and his defense, despite the talent that's there, has not been up to snuff. Just can't get it done. And then this Chargers team overall, especially offensively with Herbert as the quarterback, they just can't get wins either. So you look at the Chargers and you're thinking, well, this game Thursday night, it's like, even as a Raiders fan, I was like, Raiders would probably, I don't think, stand much of a chance. They might probably end up losing, even though the Chargers have been struggling. The Raiders have been too. So I felt like Chargers are going to get the win here. It might be close, and it might be low scoring, and we didn't see that at all. I watched this whole entire game, and I came away not only surprised, but also something was telling about this game. And you saw it with the Charger players, where as much criticism as Staley has taken this season, you saw the players not going all out for their coach. You saw their players not really dialed in to say, hey, we're going to try to save his job and keep him here because we really do believe in him. There wasn't that much effort on the football field. I mean, maybe early on, in the very beginning, but then after that, it kind of disappeared. Like, they're like, oh, well, we tried. We're done. We want you out. That's really what it seemed like throughout the rest of the game. And the Raiders just took advantage. their defense played amazing. Their offense played amazing, and all facets of the game they were just head and tails better than the Chargers that night. So for the Raiders, it's a great win. You beat one of your AFC West rivals, but again, both teams have a lot of work to do this coming off season.
Yeah, and who knows what does this mean for Pierce and stuff as a coach and stuff. Antonio Pierce, I mean,
Right.
Is he going to return next year, or is he just your interim coach, and then they're going to be looking some more for their head coach? All right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that can cement that is this week you play the Chiefs. If somehow you can find a way, find a way to beat the Chiefs,
yeah,
that I think will just cement his job. No doubt about it. He'll be the head coach. But if he loses, and let's just say for the next couple of weeks, if he loses the next 2 games, then I think you kind of go on the side of caution and say, well, he did a good job, but did he do enough to kind of hold on to that head coaching gig? So we'll see how that all ends up, but what we got more comments.
We got more comments
down
announced. We got Diana Thomas announced.
Yes, said White Christmas.
White Christmas.
As
There you
as
go.
a one of
Old
those
school
classic.
one. There you go. Yeah, classic
Christmas
right
movies.
there.
And then Mike
Absolutely.
Tack at times ends ROG
Tack.
know-it-all himself. What's going on,
Hashtag
Mike?
Know-it-alls.
Welcome to the show. He goes, how about the madness in Motown? In the
Ooh,
past 2 years, the Lions and Pistons both have 19 wins each. Such a Detroit thing. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we got more coming in. Diana Thomas also says, Merry Christmas, you two. Keep up the good work. We really
thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you so much.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas to you
Hashtag
as well.
Know-it-alls.
Derek comes in here and says, Go Niners. Spoken like a true Niners fan right there. He's all excited, and he should be.
Yeah.
This Niners team is, and we alluded to it early in the season, but I feel like the Niners team we saw in the beginning of the year, it's like, okay, that's kind of expected, but it seems like they got healthier, and they just got better. Like as a team, as a unit, the chemistry is there. You know, Brock Purdy, nobody can question this guy.
I'm happy when I'm playing.
And then on top of that, the overall aspect of the defense and the team all coming together at just driving the car as one unison, one path, one way to go, and they're all aboard. Like this team is one of the more fierce teams that you're going to have to compete, especially in the playoffs. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC, and rightfully so. So I can't wait for some of the big matchups that are going to take place.
Yeah, they pick up where they left off last year. We were kind of robbed to kind of of
right.
seeing them because they were the
yeah.
better team. I mean, the Philadelphia
yeah.
Eagles played really well last year, but
They played
were
amazing,
the
yeah.
best team until Brock Purdy went down, and you see the difference. And
Right.
you see the difference this year with him in there. He is making the push to be the MVP right now at this point. You know
And
what
that-
he's been able to
right.
do this season.
Yeah.
He had the few down. See, that's what's funny is how
A
quick
couple
people
games.
are ready to just
Right.
bash somebody because
Yeah.
he had a few games where oh my goodness, they lost. They lost a few games and Brock Purdy's trash. You know, I mean, I can't believe this. Look at what else he's done so far this season. So it's funny how quick they're trying to just bring him back down and then they'll build him back up again.
And the other thing,
But
too,
that's the
about
way
this
it is.
team is the emergence of Brandon Ayuk. Because
Yes.
for a long time, Ayuk was this, like, shiny new toy that they were trying to figure out how to utilize and see and develop him and get him better. And then with Debo missing some time this year, it's like, oh, well, we have Ayuk, but how good can he be? And this season, I feel like more than any, he's really showed up. He's really said, hey, I can be a dominant receiver too on this team. Watch me cook, So Debo, now you have all these pieces. You got, Garrett, you got George Kittle, you got Ayuk, you got Debo, you got Christian McCaffrey. Like, who are you going to defend with an already stellar cast that they have? So Derek also says, facts, Joe, they are scary. Absolutely. Also says, we will see Christmas Day. That will be our test for sure.
Yes, and isn't it exciting that we will have Christmas games, this year and stuff too, which is nice. So we
I'm
did
sure.
a little bit last year, on
Yeah.
a Sunday, but it's nice to see some of that because generally, NBA likes to save their special times for just to have their Christmas games, but it's nice when the NFL can be there as well because I can't stand basketball, and I just
it's okay. Everybody's gonna go away from NBA and watch the NFL.
Yeah, anyways, yeah. So I wonder what the difference is, when we look at those ratings and stuff, and how badly they take a hit on those,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's something for me to watch because I think for some reason too with Christmas movies and stuff, they play them way too early. Like right after Thanksgiving, the movies come in and hit you hard. And then once I'm getting into the spirit, they've already gone by. And then I'm like, where the hell are these movies? Except for unless you hit like AMC, I think, which does a marathon of them. We're able to see, but I'm trying to get in that spirit, and then I'm just losing it because it's not there. So. It's nice to have some football I can watch on Christmas and things like that when I'm getting my belly nice and full and eating those sweets and things.
Yeah,
Joe, we got more comments just ripping down right there.
Mike Tackett, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That is Mike. Just want to make a college football comment real quick. Okay.
All right, you have 1 second. Go.
Two things. First, how shameful all these players sitting out of bowl games. Florida State has six starters playing for their bowl game and more in the transfer portal. Secondly, with the lack of parity worse than it's ever been, does the transfer portal help or hurt a group of 5 teams? I can see it as a double-edged blade. On one hand, the best players will often jump into the portal to join a Power 5 program, whereas there are also Power 5 players who jump into the portal going to a group of 5, as well as FCS series transfers too. Thoughts? It's a lot to take in, but let's take it in by step 1 here. He says how shameful it is for some of these players sitting out of bowl games. Now, you can look at it 2 different ways here. I feel like this is a trend that has picked up steam in the college football, dynamic, is that some players want to sit out the bowl game because it's happened before in history where big time players that are seen as top 5 picks or top 10 picks or high end end up getting injured, like a torn ACL or something in the bowl game, which makes them slide critically down the draft rankings for teams to maybe take them. Instead of taking them in the first round, now they're taking them in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Mm-hmm. So there's that part of it. Then there's the other part where, but you should be there. This is a championship game, even though it's a bowl game, even it might not be for the national championship, but these bowl games mean something to every university. You win this, it is your version of the national championship. You get to win and finish off the season strong. So I'll say this. I'll say every player should be doing what's best for them. If they don't think that it's going to hinder their chances on where they get drafted if they sit out, it's also a way to protect them. It sucks as a football fan to see them sit out of bowl games, yes. But again, I think they're looking towards the future that's right around the corner, and they don't want to jeopardize what could have been if they could be a 1st or 2nd round pick rather than getting injured, and then you get picked much later and you lose some money there. Secondly, we got, where is it?
Can I just comment on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Too? Well, I'm pretty much going to agree with you in the same type of thing. That's what they're doing. And people in a world now, even just in a world, not even just the NFL, sports in general, people care about their brand now more than ever. Right. I mean, we have seriously people that post to Instagram that are somehow influencers, like whatever the frig they do, or they're wearing influences. What the fuck I want to do. And I don't get that. But people care about their brand so much. So now dealing with these, agents and stuff like that, and the fact that they even can make money right now in college even too. Some people are even thinking about sticking around for a little while as long as they can even get that money here in the college before they go into the NFL. And they want to try and stay healthy, and be able to still, especially if you've done enough in their season to be a higher rated pick, they feel comfortable with that. You know what I mean? And we've shown in history of the draft that still some of these guys that have sat out have gotten drafted fairly high too as well. So it has worked out for them. Yes, generally, would you like to see them in the Senior Bowl
For
and
sure.
things like that and some of these bowl things? Yeah, you sure. Of course, fans in general we're selfish like that. We want to be able to see that because we also want to see the great product out there. You know, that's what you're kind of wanting to do.
This is but these are like more than just the bowl games, not
the
Senior
bowl games,
Bowl.
yeah.
These are
Yes.
like the basically their end of the season championships that they play in.
Right.
The next thing that he
What's the next
asks
part?
is the transfer portal deal. Does it help or hurt college football in some of these programs? It's hit or miss. I mean, really, like not all of these high end players, whether they're 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, they don't always pan out. Just like the draft, when you draft a player for your NFL team, they don't always pan out. Like the guy could be the most hyped up stud, like Caleb Williams this year. Like he is so hyped up, it's insane. Now, will he ever reach that peak of the mountain to be as good as people think he can be? There's a possibility that he falls down the mountain and is nothing like he was hyped up to be. So I think that also goes along with in college is whether you're ranked as a five-star athlete, position ranking of a 4-star or whatever, you might not always reach that hype, that ability to be a game changer in college football. You could be a 4-star but end up playing like a 2-star. So I would say this. I don't think the transfer portal helps or hurts college football. I feel like it's a mixed bag of where these players want to move around because they want to see if they can find a different opportunity. Now, some of these players that actually go into these transfer portals to move to a different school, maybe it's opportunity is lacking where they were. Maybe they're looking for maybe I can get a better shot at starting. I can get a better shot at getting more playing time. And that's why I'm going to leave X school for A school. There's those type of moves in the transfer portal. But also, as Mike alludes to, there's also these high-end players. Now, perfect example this year is number 1 recruit for Georgia, Raiola, the quarterback. He was seen as the number 1 rated college high school quarterback coming out. He commits early to Georgia and now recently has dropped that commit, has decommitted from Georgia and has flipped and gone to, which doesn't make any sense to me, Nebraska to be their commit. And he's going to go to Nebraska now. So I wonder, and then you got to also wonder, there's a lot of variables, obviously, coaches moving around in college, that changes things too. So I will just say that the transfer portal, I think it's just one of those extra avenues where players can have the freedom or the potential anyway to maybe go to a better situation for them, or who knows, maybe it's not as good as it is and it actually hurts them. So I don't think it hurts or I don't think it helps or hurts college football. I think in a sense, I think it's kind of just another different type of avenue that student athletes have to go through.
That is correct.
I can't say anything else. I agree with everything you said.
All right, Derek chimes in. Mike, let us know what you think, though, Mike, with what your questions, too. Derek goes, what's your score predictions for the Niners game? Whew, that's a good one. That's Baltimore at San Fran.
I say 27-23. How about that? What the hell? 49ers. 49ers 27, Baltimore 23.
Both good defenses. Man,
We'll see.
They don't
We'll see
normally
what
play each other either, so I don't know. I would say, I think it might be close to that. I'll say 24-21, San Fran.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be.
What do you think, Brandon? Let us know out there. Everybody out there, let us know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about some? Make some bold predictions.
Thanks for the
this
comments,
whole,
guys. Thanks to Derek
Christmas
and Mike,
season
everybody.
too. Why not?
And then Mike Tackett, last but not least, again, 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers just came back from a torn ACL in 3 months. # never forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
never forget.
it's
like
in
even
it's
hashtag, ayahuasca works, or you know what I mean, or something like whatever treatments he's
No,
doing.
it's experimental, apparently. So who knows what that guy's
I'm
on?
telling you, he's getting like iguana like DNA injected in his Achilles or something.
I think he got
regenerative genes.
He got a symbiote injection.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like venom.
Yeah.
Just put it inside him.
That's what I'm
He's
saying.
like,
Yeah, he's going to be a super
All
villain
good.
pretty soon.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Or the other way. I don't
no,
know.
I mean, yeah, he's been cleared. He's coming back, but reports say that he's just not even playing this year anyway. They have to make a decision where they put him on the roster or not. I think they do it as an emergency. And
Winners don't use drugs.
you know, it's a good decision though. I think I have to say, if the Jets, as long as the Jets stick to it and say no, Aaron's not playing it down, we're gonna wait till next year. I think it's smart. But if for some reason the Jets are like next week, nope, we're gonna play Rodgers to see what we have on offense. Why? And what if he happens to get injured again? You don't want to risk that. So hopefully they don't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously you already know what you kind of have on offense. Not a whole lot.
Well, no,
maybe
it's
a
different if
you
you
know,
have
It is a little bit, 'cause
Rodgers
he
in
can
there.
make
It
greatness
changes
out of
everything.
a lot of different players.
Changes
Absolutely.
everything.
But I think they do need to even add some more talent in wide receiver, just because once you get past a certain spot, and there you're looking at again Lazard, who hasn't been doing much, and then Randall Cobb, these older guys stuff.
But you'll be
get younger and
surprised
better.
that if Rodgers was in there, those guys would
He
be
can make it work.
They would be
because
really good.
It's my guy.
You know?
what I mean? My man. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, what else? He was talking about Detroit. How about Detroit, man? They're like one of those Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde again teams to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't get them. Just when I was ready to bail on them, they go and prove me wrong again here and win big at
Again,
home.
but it's-
but
yeah.
some of these teams that they're supposed to beat, like even Denver, they probably should have. They don't show up, but it's almost like Denver, they saw their competition. They're like, Denver's been playing tough. That means we got to step up again. And boom, then they light it up. And that's what they do. They play hard against harder competition a lot of times, and they just showed out in this one. Did
Yeah,
nothing wrong.
This is a team that they were expected to win, and they've had games like this where, like, oh, Detroit should win this game against the Colts. Oh, Detroit should win this game against Denver. And it hasn't always gone that way. These are teams that they should have won, and they failed. This game in particular, Denver, they should have beat Denver, and they did. That's what confuses you as an NFL fan. You're like, but they don't always do this. They don't always win when we expect them to win. So Detroit, they got to figure things out. And I know they're hurting defensively. They don't have a great secondary. They don't have maybe even the right linebackers yet. They drafted a rookie that I love, and Jack Campbell, that playing that middle linebacker. That's a good place to start. Their D-line is solid, but they got to continue to build on that. So that'll be something that they have to address in the offseason.
All right, Mike Tackett says, what's the trade value for Zach Wilson?
Not much. I mean, it's not going to be a
I
lot.
don't even think a Klondike bar would be a good trade. Do you think?
I think it's
Klondike
more
bar?
than a Klondike
I don't know.
bar. I think it is.
It could be.
I think it's a Reese's Klondike bar.
I
That
would
raises the
really
stakes
like
a little
to
bit.
go for a Klondike bar though right now.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Maybe after the show.
Yeah, maybe. Sounds good.
For,
Go out for
so
Klondike bars.
for
Joe.
Zach Wilson, I mean, he's a young quarterback. Maybe a change of scenery would work out for him. Maybe a different offense. I don't know, actually. It's kind of unpredictable, I guess. But, like, if you're going to put it into perspective, like, look at some of these veteran quarterbacks that are available. Like, Joe Flacco was a free agent, and he's better than Zach Wilson. Like, can we be honest about that? Zach Wilson was a free agent, so I don't think you have to give up hardly anything for him. His contract is minimal, so it's not like a money issue. So I'm like, you could probably get him for a 6th or 7th round pick, to be honest. Like, I don't think you have to give up much at all.
Mm-hmm.
If they said it and you heard it, then it made a noise. Football in the know with
That's
Jim
right.
and Joe.
We said it.
Thanks,
and you
Steve.
heard it. Then it made a noise. Zach can
Take
join
that.
Gino in Seattle, Mike Tackett says.
You know what?
Well-
Here's the interesting thing about that statement is Geno Smith was kind of written off and like he'll never be a starter. He's done. He went to Seattle for several years under Russell Wilson, got his opportunity, and super exceeded those expectations. Zach could do the same thing. He could,
Well, yeah, I mean, look at even Drew Lock even at this one. Drew Lock looked pretty good last night.
well,
Or the
he
other
wasn't.
night.
He wasn't great, but he made one big
I-
throw, and that was the biggest throw of the game.
He had some pretty good throws, Joe. I mean, he wasn't stupendous, and you know what I'm saying, like lighting the whole thing up. I mean, they were running the ball efficiently.
That's
with
what was
Kenneth
killing them, too.
But when Drew Lock was looking so bad before, what he was doing in this past game, again, not making those mental errors and stuff like that. You know, just controlling the flow of the game. You know what I mean? And like he even said, the guy supported him, and you know the group of teammates around him played really well.
Yeah.
So it helped. And like I said, when you think of Drew Lock, like, dude, this dude's a disaster. He played efficient, and you know, end up pulling out the victory in here, and a nice throw at the end of the game, like you said.
Still don't think he's going to be a starter.
Oh no, no. Did I say that? No.
No,
You know,
I didn't say you said that.
But I'm just saying, you know, look what the difference, even maybe a different atmosphere, and that kind of look back at your life, you know, and your career the way it's been. Like he even said, he's matured a little bit. He's had time to reflect, and didn't even know if he'd be able to get it to start a game again. And now that he has, he made the most of the opportunity. And who knows? Maybe that's all Zach Wilson needs, a little different, you know, scenery.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I think where Zach Wilson could thrive is hopefully he takes whatever, if he does move on from the Jets, if the Jets move on from him, however way it works, and he takes the knowledge that Rodgers has given him as a pro and how to handle himself and whatnot, and he goes to a different team. Hopefully he implements and keeps that knowledge, because I don't think he's such a terrible quarterback like a lot of people want you to believe. They're like, oh, he's horrendous. He'll never be anything. He's so young, though. He could still develop, and maybe he needs an offensive change. Maybe he needs a whole scenery change, like we mentioned, and go to a completely different team with different coaches, and who knows? We've seen it happen before with certain free agents, certain veterans out there. Didn't have the greatest career at their past team, but then they sign, and it's all of a sudden it's like, wow, this guy is actually playing really, really good football now. Like, who saw this coming? You know, and maybe that could happen for Zach. We'll have to wait and see what happens at the end of the season, whether the Jets want to keep him on or whether they want to part ways and see what happens after that.
Absolutely. And I guess, Joe, too, even the Dallas and Buffalo game, people were excited to watch this one. But
I was
Buffalo,
excited to see that.
Really laid it down, laid the smackdown on the
definitely
Dallas
did.
Cowboys, where they weren't able to do anything offensively at all. And that defense, even, they played right into kind of like, I was watching it, even I was getting ink at the time, Joe. I was with Thaddeus at King's Ransom. Getting more ink on my arm, and I'm watching it on my phone while we're going. And I'm just, you know, looking at some of this, and I'm like, okay, let's watch how this plays out. I get it. What do you do to stop the Dallas Cowboy pass rush? You just run the ball. And that's all they kept doing. It's like, all right, you can't stop it. We're just going to keep doing it.
Well, the other thing,
James
too,
Cook really lit it up.
Yeah, the other thing, too, about their pass rush is if Micah Parsons gets going, the rest of the D-line gets going. And if you can stunt him, stop him, slow him down like the Bills were doing, and a few other teams have done this season as well, is they've been double-teaming him, chipping him off the line, doing all these different things to kind of slow him down, and it works extremely well, because if you can slow or stop that man, the rest of the D-line doesn't seem like they're as involved. So teams have been watching film and watching how other teams play the Cowboys, and if you're not every team is able to do it because maybe you don't have as good of a line or something, but teams that can handle it are doing it well. And that's kind of what's slowing that defense that was one of the better defenses in this league now against some of these bigger teams that they face, and teams like an AFC team that they don't normally face. I'm noticing a lot when they have these cross-conference matchups that a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times the AFC beats the NFC team, doesn't matter how good the NFC team is, for some reason. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But the Bills took it to the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys did not have answers. And this is the second time that I've watched Dallas personally. And I was like, we've seen how good they are, against other opponents. But then they face a couple of playoff caliber teams, and they look like a shell of themselves. So that just kind of makes me, is it false gold? Is it fool's gold? Is Dallas the Cowboys fool's gold that when they do make the playoffs, are they going to lose in round one against a better team or a team that just is going to outplay them? So that's something to me that I watched when I saw that Dallas and Buffalo matchup. I was curious to see how that would end up, and Dallas wasn't even in the realm of a chance of winning.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. They just got outplayed on all phases, and it looked like the offensive line couldn't stop the Bills at all either, too, for the Dallas Cowboys. They were just repeatedly getting into the backfield, and Dak Prescott didn't even have time to throw the ball. That was Mike Tackett, I have to say. Here.
Mike goes, if I were a GM, I'd trade a first for Wilson if we got his mom too.
Oh, man, that you would.
Touche.
You probably would, though. I mean, she's got to be on board, and, they're all going to talk about it, when they bring it out. So.
That's right.
Hide your moms, though, too, from Zach Wilson, though, right? Anybody that had, attractive moms or things like that or wives, you got to watch out for that youngin' over there. But, yeah, absolutely.
Sounded Canadian right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you said ouch, you said ouch.
Ouch.
I like it.
Watch out. No, not sure. But awesome. I like it.
Mixing it
I'm
up.
a man of many different talents and
Nationalities.
Joe. Absolutely.
They're all coming out.
So, yeah, we threw it out there before a question. Again, what's your favorite Christmas movie out there? Let us know in the comments.
Yes.
Earlier, I shared something to our group and to our page, and it was a question out there. It was like a meme that's been out there. So I'm going to throw it out here again, and we're going to read off the comments in a little bit, in just a little while after we do one of our lists, and let you guys know what so many people said. But let us know even now in the comments, too, what's on your Christmas football wish list this year. So here, with your teams, with the NFL in general, what's on your wish list now here coming up? It doesn't even have to be Christmas Day, just coming up, especially even for the new year, you're making a playoff run. Mine, I typed right away, was some competent officiating. I know I'm not going to see that, but it's a wish. A guy can wish, right? Right? Well, what's the one thing I can wish in one hand and shit in the other or something like that? What happens first or some crap? Yeah, whatever.
I'm surprised you didn't say you want your offensive coordinator fired.
I've been wanting that for a while. Yeah. So, I don't think Santa hears me on that one anymore. So, I don't know.
Not at all.
I think I'm just going to start praying to God then after that. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah. So, I mean, it's been pretty bad for a lot of teams out there. But some people's wish list came true. I think when they did fire Brandon Staley, we talked about that earlier with your team, really putting it to him. But Brandon Staley out now. Now, will he find a coaching job somewhere else, being back at a defensive coordinator for another
I don't know.
team?
But I mean,
there's also, I've heard rumors now with the Chargers now, again, with what's going on with the Patriots and how they're going to maybe ease out of the Bill Belichick situation, and they're talking trades, is that they think a perfect landing spot could possibly be right there for the Chargers.
Yeah, I don't know. We're still waiting to see if that's even going to happen. I know that there was a bunch of articles out there saying that it's almost definite. It's going to happen at the end of the season and all that, but I don't know, man. I'm still kind of holding true to what I believe in as far as mid-season, you sign an extension. I don't know what would change. And they weren't even winning games then either. So I don't know what dramatically changed, if there was a rift in the relationship between Kraft and Bill Belichick that it took a bad turn. And maybe that's what everyone's kind of holding on hope to, getting it right in terms of reporting. But I don't know. Sign an extension mid-season. I don't know. Legendary coach. It's not a question of if he can coach anymore. It's not a question of him slipping. I don't think it's the team. It's the off. They haven't had a good offensive coordinator, which Tom Brady was the offensive coordinator, but they haven't had a good quarterback and a good offensive coordinator in quite some time. So I think maybe he might be able to live another year. If it goes downhill, I guess next season, then maybe I think we could kind of talk about maybe moving on from him. But we'll see. Maybe something changed dramatically, and we will see Bill exited out. But nonetheless, Mike Tackett also commented and said, the Monday after the Super Bowl is declared a national holiday. Please, for the love of God. So that's something that he's wishing for this holiday season. And that's something that a lot of people feel that should happen. Because we know that, people they go to Super Bowl parties. They like to live it up, drink, eat. And after that, it's you're not suited. Let's just say you're not suited to get back to work the next day. Everybody struggles with that Monday after the Super Bowl, and they're maybe a little hungover, maybe not all dialed in, not enough sleep. So I think that's a good one there, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so too. It would be nice again, and I think John Turner had brought this up before, the fact that the closer it gets to President's Day and things like that, the Super Bowl, how they keep pushing it out with the playoffs and stuff like that. I think that even makes it a greater chance that it could possibly happen again, getting closer to in line with already kind of a national holiday to get the day off, which would be cool. Because again, they've already accepted the fact that it's the most popular sport in the world, even let alone the United States. Well, not the world, I guess. Because again, soccer's fairly big, but it's getting there. I think it's getting there. I feel so like it could be, but people watch the Super Bowl all around the world. You know what I mean? So the fact that it should, I think, be an American holiday, I think is got to be there. To have the day off to recover. But that's almost even like saying the day after St. Patrick's Day, maybe we should have off too, because everybody's getting really fucked up too, and they need a next day off too. That's not really a great excuse.
I mean,
it would be a lot of fun and be nice. But, we just pull through it as Americans and just deal with it, right?
I guess my holiday wish is that I get 4 days off to watch the draft coverage.
Draft coverage.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
So like the scouting combine and everything, because we do our own scouting here. I wish I had more time to dedicate to my scouting to maybe get a little bit more accurate with my picks and stuff. So that's what I want. Give me 4 days off.
Give me 4 days off. Here we go.
For scouting.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, every year around on the holiday show, I do the know-it-all, nice and naughty list.
Before we get to that, do you want me to read off some of the people?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. Let's do the comments here. Again, here's the topic that we had, which Mike just said was what's on your Christmas football wish list. Joe, let's read off some of the comments that people had said.
We have a comment by Luke Ryder, and he said, a Bills playoff berth would help my holiday spirit. So, Luke, who knows? Maybe they've turned it around. It looks like they have. They're beating some good teams, and it's at the perfect time where they're right down the stretch. If they can finish off and win out, you might get your wish. Eric Bowers says, Michigan winning the national championship. He's definitely got to be a Wolverines fan, just like my counterpart here in Jim. Mike Crossman said, we already fired Josh McDaniels, so I'm happy. There's a Raiders fan. Extremely happy. Brandon Degener said, well, Mason Rudolph is playing this week, so we'll see.
Retard alert.
We will see. In fact, I don't think that's a holiday wish, Brandon, but maybe if you're still watching, maybe you can drop one. Brandon, my brother, actually chimed in and said, fire Arthur Smith and find a consistent quarterback. Is that 2 wishes or 1?
Nice.
But
hey, might as well go for it. Let's throw 2 and 1. Why not?
But Falcons fan, obviously tired of the Arthur Smith movement and would like to find his future quarterback, of course. And that's what we have for as of right now. If you're new to the show or if you're just seeing this, drop down in the comments below what you are wishing for this holiday season, whether it be your team next season to do something or down the stretch this year. Drop them in the comments below. And if you could also help us here, head over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, share it, do whatever you can, comment down below. Also, hit that notification bell while you're there to let you guys know when we go live. And, of course, you can also bring us along on the go, be in the know, anywhere you get your podcasts.
Absolutely, Joe. All right, so let's get to my naughty list, Joe. These are the guys that, again, have underwhelmingly played or whatever, just having a down year.
Okay.
And it's not even a single player even in general, Joe, because overall some teams just overall stink out there.
Gotcha.
So there we go. So the naughty list right here, first on my naughty list, I've got the New York Football Giants just as a whole team. They cannot do anything well on any phase of the game, special teams. They're ranked 31st in defense and 29th on offense. So that shows you right there, can't do anything right. Saquon Barkley on top of it can't really get it done because they know that's their number one target. So what do? You just kind of
all
pin your ears back
do.
and they've got Tommy DeVito, which this worked for a little bit here, but overall, and again, it's just a bad team. And what a difference from last year to this year. I would have even said last year, maybe that, Brian Dable's on the nice list, even though I didn't put him on there, but he could have been, what he's able to do with the team. But even before Daniel Jones went down and stuff like that, this team already looked like a disaster, and they've just played it all out for the rest of the season here. He did enough to make a little spazz out there and look kind of fun and have some fun with Tommy DeVito. But overall, Joe, they're on the naughty list.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it. They are nothing that we thought or anticipated they would be this season. Because when you alluded to last season on how much success they had with nothing, like they literally had Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, and a makeshift offensive line at best. Like nothing, no receivers, anything. The defense was still there. The defense was good, but they made huge strides last season. So you're thinking as a Giants fan or as an NFL fan, the Giants had made some improvements. They drafted, they brought in some draft picks there, and they upgraded some positions, especially receiver. And I'm thinking, a lot of people are thinking, well, what's to say the Giants, they made a playoff run last year. Now they look better on paper. They should definitely compete for the division and at least make the playoffs, whether it be a wild card or whatever. Nothing. Whether they upgraded or not, they looked worse than last year. So call it, point a finger at the offensive coordinator, point a finger at the head coach, point a finger at the quarterback. What's the problem in New York? Well, hopefully we'll see next in this offseason, we'll see some changes. Maybe they bring, and that's the other thing. A lot of decisions got to be made because they can, if they want to, get out of this contract of Daniel Jones. And if they wanted to move on and bring in someone else at quarterback, they could. So a lot of question marks, a lot of hard decisions that the Giants are going to have to make this offseason. I'm curious to see what they do this year.
All right, next up on my naughty list is Arthur Smith right there. Again, Arthur Smith, again, for numerous reasons. He's overall as a head coach.
Sucks.
Yeah, he's 20-28.
It's terrible.
It kind of surprised us a little bit last year, even though they had a losing. He's got 3 consecutive losing records, seasons.
Gotta go.
Again, last year had a little bit of that the running game kind of going, something to figure out with Cordarrelle Patterson here getting it going, but. Not only did they draft some more talent on defense, but then also on offense. Defense, surprisingly, is a top 10 ranked defense here out there, not in the passing game, but overall in general. But that offense, something that, Arthur Smith should be part of, and, why they kind of brought him over there.
Right.
Just, lackluster, not getting it done.
Right.
And again, 6-8 right now, and 26th ranked in offense right now. So, and now you hear the fans clamoring, trying to get him out of there. When some of the games even they're in, he's really arguing for some kind of calls to get it to go his way. Just doesn't have control over there.
Right.
So I think Arthur Smith, like we said before, on the hot seat, he's got to be on his way out. He's on the naughty list.
Yeah, you mentioned the defense actually playing pretty well, and much of that is because of the upgrades they made in the secondary. They bring over Jesse Bates III from the Bengals. A.J. Terrell was finally healthy coming back this year. The emergence of D. Alford and Richie Grant at strong safety, along with the rookie, Clark Phillips III also kind of stepping up into his role. They pulled off also a trade for Jeff Okudah, and he hasn't been there as much. They would like him to be healthier, but he's been banged up all year. But even though you look at what at least they made a strong effort to beef up that defensive side, even though they were missing some pieces, and the offense just couldn't match up. Bottom line, Arthur Smith, that's your baby. That's what you were brought in to do, is score points. The defense is being taken care of, but so far your offense, no matter who you draft, what high pick you have, and I think they've done a good job drafting offensively. Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Pitts, all great picks, all studs, but the offense still sucks. You're not getting it done. And when you put all your chips in the center of the table on Desmond Ridder, that was your career too. That was the problem, is that you kept sticking by Ridder no matter what. Even when people questioned you, I can only assume that the owner, the GM were like, Arthur, you still sure about this kid? And he's like, oh no, he's gonna figure it out. He's gonna work. No, this is the terrible and worst career decision you've ever made. And now that you've stuck by him so much, so this week, I think he's forced to make a change to where Taylor Heineke is now going to get back inserted into the starting role, and rightfully so. It's over. It's done. It's time to not only move on from Desmond Ridder, but also let's move on from Arthur Smith. As Falcons fans out there, I know are irate.
Right, because even for him to not even pull the trigger faster, because, again, I think we already saw a little bit last year and then into this year what Desmond Ridder was. To save his job, he had to make this change quicker. Not, hey, let's see what this kid's got, and try him out. We already kind of figured it out. So next on the naughty list I've got is Sam Howell, Joe. Sam Howell from the Washington Commanders. Joe, he is leading the league in pick sixes right now. So he's got 4 pick sixes here for them. He also leads the league in interceptions with 15 interceptions right now, Joe.
He leads the league?
Yes.
You want to know why he does? Because Jimmy G got benched.
There you go.
Otherwise,
that's
Jimmy
the
G
only
would be
reason right now. Jimmy G was still playing. I know, and multiply what he had on every game. Yeah, that would have been impressive. That would be impressive. Yeah, and right now, again, a rating of 83.9, 19 touchdowns, like I said, 15 INTs, and he's been sacked 59 times. Now, that's not exactly all his fault, but you got to try and get the ball out, too, even though you are getting pressure, and that offensive line is terrible. But overall, a terrible year for Sam Howell, trying to develop here with the new offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, but it's looking rough. And again, a team, like you said, who said, screw it, we're going all in on Sam Howell. They made the decision last year on Ron Rivera and stuff, and now a full season with Sam Howell, and it's a rough season for him.
It is. And the only thing that I'll say is I agree with you, but I also disagree because the offensive line in the interior is absolutely putrid. Like, it is absolutely horrendous. It was horrendous before they started the season. And when you get all those pressures, and you mentioned like how many times he's been sacked, and he might be even trying to get rid of the football, but he doesn't have time, so he's trying to make a play happen, and that's where the turnovers come into play. So it's not like he doesn't have weapons, but I feel like because of how bad that offensive line is up front, in front of him, that also kind of can skew those numbers for him as a quarterback. So I'm not 100% out on Sam Howell just yet, but I would like to see next season, if they choose to stay with Sam as their starter, to shore up that offensive line for him, and then maybe can get a true analysis of how good or how bad he is as a QB.
All right, not to bounce around, but you know what? We talked about the Atlanta Falcons here, and you touched on it a little bit. I got to bring up Desmond Ridder. Again, he has been terrible.
Yeah, we knew that. He should be not. He doesn't even deserve to be on a list.
Right? He should have just a
just forget about him.
We already knew it. It was a given, right? He's not exactly naughty.
That's
He's
right.
just say, oh, there, Like, he is the epitome of coal in human form, apparently, right? All right, so again, we brought it up. He's got 63 completion percentage, which isn't horrible again, but I mean, he's not really forcing the ball downfield and getting things done.
Right.
The 10 touchdowns to 10 INTs in crucial situations here. Again, he's made decisions that have broken the back of this team that when they had opportunities to win, he's failed them, and they haven't been able to get it done, and hence now ruining the career now for even Arthur Smith and not getting it done, to where you were leading the division with a under 500, record, and nobody else was there. They were playing terrible. The Saints were on a downhill turn.
Tampa Bay was kind of up and down.
The Panthers have been terrible.
The Falcons had an opportunity to just hold on and not let go of that division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, though, too, is not only is that you have the sole position of the playoffs right there, or even that division in your hands this week, and you lose to the worst team in the NFL right now, to where there's nobody in the stands. They couldn't even buy tickets. They're selling tickets for what, like $4? They said as low as $4, and people weren't showing up.
I'll go.
Yeah, I would have went. You know what I mean? But how terrible is that in an empty stadium, to where you should have beat this team? You're leading the division. It's all locked up for you, and you still couldn't do it. Still couldn't get it done. So that's why, again, naughty list, Arthur Smith and Desmond Ridder, you're on there just as badly. Hooray for Taylor Heineke.
I mean, it is what it is.
We got some comments up in here, Joe. What do we got
Ridder.
here?
Ridder sucks. He should be out. Just get him out of there. He doesn't even deserve a second chance. Bottom line. Mike Tackett comes in. He goes, really wish the NFL would utilize the XFL/USFL merger as a D league. I know the whole college is the NFL's D league argument, but now we're talking about guys who are good enough to get NFL attention. Mm-hmm. Just not quite there to make a team 53-man roster and or practice squad. Like Bill Polian said, the difference for a lot of these guys making an NFL team or not is repetitions, which doesn't happen for these tweener guys at NFL camps. Absolutely correct. I mean, Bill Polian was a very smart GM in his time in Indy. And he's still extremely sharp, extremely smart, and knows football in and out. So that comment right there tells you everything you need to know. And he's right, because there's a lot of these guys that after college, before the NFL, that they kind of fall into this hole where it's like, well, if you didn't make the NFL, even though you had the experience in college and everything, but you just couldn't quite make it, there's nowhere for them to go. There's nowhere for them to practice, to develop, to get better in whatever craft they're in, whatever position that they play. So when there's nothing there for them, it's almost like, okay, well, now what do? You decide, I'm going to go into the workforce, or, you know what I mean? Something like that. So it's like there's no path for them to still pursue their dreams of possibly making the NFL
right
at that level. So I agree that should be a thing. Like, I think it could be everything. Like, it doesn't have to be just XFL, USFL. It can be, they can still utilize that as like their D league, but also college football is always going to be there. College football, they're always going to draft from. So I hope that with the newer leagues that are kicking off, that some of these players get opportunities to go to a practice squad, at least show what you can do. Maybe you just kind of land on a practice squad. You're there for a year. And if they like what they see by the end of the season, they sign you to a 1-year deal and then go from there. So I think that teams are cautious of doing it because they've seen other teams kind of dip their toe into that pool and say, well, we had this guy, he didn't work out. We had this guy, we didn't work out. So it's like back and forth a little bit.
But didn't even Aubrey for the Dallas Cowboys, didn't he play for like Birmingham or somebody, for
the kicker?
One of those teams, the kicker.
He was a soccer
and he
guy.
was a soccer guy, but I think he went and was on one of those.
He was on one of those XFL teams or something.
Yeah, and look what happens. You know what I mean? Again, a guy who chose, soccer, at least was good at that, was doing well. And it's like
really good,
now
actually.
the USFL or the XFL's there and says, hey, you know what? I did my thing here. I've always liked football. I want to give it a shot.
Yeah.
We'll see what I got. And right now, he's moved up just like that. Now he plays for the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, on the biggest screen, and making those big kicks right on, when on the big stage.
Right,
And,
but
that shows you.
That's
right
also
there.
a position that is very easy to transition. Like, if you have the skill, it's kind of easy. It's easier to transition to be a kicker or punter and make it in the NFL. Because there's always teams scrambling to look for them.
But if it wasn't even for that league, I don't think he even gets on that. Because, if he's going to college on a scholarship, it's probably through soccer.
But what I'm saying is position-wise, like linebacker, running back, wide receiver, very different positions. You're out there, and you have to be exceptional. You can't just be good, because there's a lot of good that don't make it. You got to be exceptional. So, I mean, I feel like that's the whole thing, is that you're always going to still continue to get players from the college from the draft. But also, I still think teams will give certain athletes opportunities, but I don't think it's going to be a large amount. I don't think it ever will be.
All right, well, so we got some more comments.
Nick Brazzaro said, "What's up, guys?
Hey.
What's up, Nick?
What's up,
Welcome
Nick?
to the show, brother." If you could do us a huge favor, though. This is the first time I think I've seen you comment.
Yeah,
but
first timer?
I think it might be a
Hashtag
first timer.
know-it-alls.
Oh, I
Maybe.
like it. Perhaps.
Nick, but if you could do us a huge favor, if you're not already doing so, could you follow us over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, help us out, grow our football community there. Mike Tackett also chimes in, says Dallas has Turpin and Brandon Aubrey. Both are Pro Bowl guys. They get their reps in the USFL.
USFL, that's what it was. Yeah, see, there you go. It shows you. I mean, again, Turpin, a big one, too. Again, you want to talk about some of the guys.
I'm going to be honest. I'm a little disappointed in Dallas.
Yeah?
Because I really think this Turpin kid could be exceptional at wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think you put him in the
more.
slot and utilize him kind of like a Tyreek Hill. He's not the same, but he has speed like him where you could really create mismatches, put him in the slot against linebackers, against third corners, and let him drags, slants, and just feed him and let him run, hit him on the run. I think that kid could be even better. But
what do you even think about jet sweeps or something like that with him too?
Anything to get the ball in his hands, to utilize that speed.
Yeah,
they already do. They already utilize him obviously in special teams, but it's like, and you see it once in a while he gets an opportunity on offense, but I think it needs to be more. It needs to be increased.
Absolutely. All right. So next on my naughty list here, like I said, it's not only just players. I've got teams on here, and next on my list, I've got the Eagles defense, Joe. Eagles defense again.
Okay.
A team that, again, even though despite their record, we were doing really well, undefeated for a very long time, lost 3 straight. The offense still hasn't looked even the same, but still they're a top 10 offense, even surprisingly enough, looking at this team.
Right.
It's the defensive side that people kind of been overlooking and not really pointing the face of blame to these guys here. They're 32nd overall on third down conversions here. So again, teams are beating them right there when it comes down to move the sticks. They're beating them on, even though people are focusing on how the offense is doing that tush push. People are beating them on third downs on the defensive side. 26 in overall points for, 22nd in the yards against, and 31st with touchdowns scored on them too on the defense. So again, people are able to move the ball on third down and score on this team. And in the red zone, 28th as well. So not only get to the red zone, but score at a pretty good market here. A lot different than last year. Last year, they had a top 10 offense and defense. Big difference. And so much so that they tried to, even in the last game, they pulled a trigger and they just want to put Matt Patricia, as their new defensive coordinator. Like they were trying to change it up to try and change some things, which
because a lot of people were blaming the D coordinator and saying, well, he's just not working out anymore for some reason. I mean, with a talent like that, like it's kind of hard to screw it up, right?
Right.
So when they switched to Matt Patricia, and by all accounts, after the loss to Seattle, people were still questioning, like, well, was Matt Patricia the right decision? And he got some confidence by Nick Sirianni and saying, well, no, we're sticking by Matt. He's going to be our D coordinator going forward. And not much change, though. Like, I saw small amount of better defensive play calls being made, but not like a huge change. Not like that we thought, or at least some Eagle fans thought was going to transpire. So I think the Eagles, for having all that talent, now remind you, last season, they lost some players, some key players. Mike Epps at safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson at safety/corner.
Yep.
And they also missed out Javon Hargrave, the heart and soul of that D-line, a guy that was an absolute menace inside. He's with the Niners. He's with Derek's Niners there, so he's wreaking havoc up the middle. But those key players, they were bigger contributors than people think. And now that you take those 3 out of there, it changes the dynamic of the rest of the defense. And they're trying, this past draft, they tried to fill and plug holes with rookies, and they're just not developed enough yet to be those type of veterans, to be those better players. So because of that, they're lacking a little bit in those positions, and they're trying to get through it. They're trying to push through it and do what they can defensively. But again, you can't make quick changes and think that nothing is going to change. That when you lose those pieces on defense, veterans, really good players, and you try to supplement somebody else and say, hey, we'll still be fine, you can notice the change there.
Absolutely. And sticking with a veteran, yet still fairly good, Fletcher Cox, but instead he's older in the tooth.
I mean,
now.
He was
You know,
signed to a 1-year deal, like he just wanted to stay and
Stay
play.
and
Type of
play,
thing. You
but-
see him; he's rotational
Yeah,
now. It's
yeah,
not even
yeah.
a true starter. So,
Yep.
I still think he's good.
Yeah.
But you know,
Mm-hmm. Yep, I hear you. All
You
right,
know.
so next up on the list, Mac Jones. Joe, Mac Jones again. What a tick down. What's funny is the first, his first season.
Yeah.
He was, I think, even offensive rookie of the year. I mean, he was right there in the Pro
Looks
Bowl
good.
too in voting.
Yeah.
I mean, so he was looking really good. And then since even their changes in offensive coordinator and things like that, started to take a downhill turn here, especially this year. 11 starts and it's been spotty. 10 touchdowns, so not even a full touchdown every game. 12 INTs, so
Yep.
10 and 12 right now for a 77 rating. Joe, overall quarterback rating, terrible. You've seen him; he makes bonehead like turnovers too. The interceptions. You're kind of like, what were you even doing there? And it's just a different look. He looks totally different. Don't know what's going on. And now you've got the quarterback shuffle with the Patriots. So.
I kind of wonder what Mac Jones is like. I'm not sure because we everybody's known for quite some time that
He's
the,
a dick.
that the offensive coordinator they've never had one. You know, I mean, they haven't had one to kind of groom him along and call the right plays. They've kind of struggled in that area as coaches. That could lead to his decreased, development. Maybe he's taken a downturn because there's not good enough coaching there. Maybe he doesn't have the right veteran quarterback that should be there in place to at least help him grow as a quarterback and as a pro. There's something wrong there that I just kind of find it hard to believe that Mac Jones is all of a sudden now he's just bad. Like all of a sudden, like his rookie year, he showed flashes of doing the right things in New England. Then the second year, it's like he looks good sometimes, and then it's not. Now he's just terrible. So what happened with his rookie year versus now? So it's like, to me, coaching changes happened. Guys left. There's a bunch of Josh McDaniels left, and whatever. Maybe he was good for New England, but there's a lot of coaching, changes that have happened that a lot of guys left, and they're trying to replace coaches like it's a Rolodex. Like it's just too much turnover in a short amount of time. I don't know if that's the real reason. Is it coaching, or is it Mac Jones himself not doing the necessary preparation as a quarterback, not doing the film work, not getting into the facility and working out and working on yourself? I don't know if that's the reason, but I'm just saying these are certain things by Mac Jones, like personally, that he should take care of, but then also the organization. Maybe they just haven't found the right coaches to coach him up either. So all that combined could be the downfall of Mac Jones, could be the reason why New England is going to move on from him. And it's not, it wouldn't surprise me, I guess, if he goes elsewhere and plays better all of a sudden. Maybe he goes to a different, environment, and all of a sudden he's playing like the Mac Jones of his rookie and even better. So we'll have to wait and see. Like we know the writing is on the wall, kind of, that Mac Jones is going to be out of New England. New England is going to be looking to draft a quarterback, picking in the top 5, possibly top 3 by the end of the season, maybe even 2. But that whole scenario to me is a little weird.
Yeah. Like I said, it's strange that he's just taking a rough downhill turn. So, all right. Lastly, on my naughty list, and I really he doesn't play anymore, but I really feel like I had to bring this up just to kind of see your opinion on
Is
it
it me?
and see what you think. No,
Oh, okay.
it's Rashard Mendenhall. In the
Rashard
comments that he had made, he is on the naughty list to me, Joe. He's got to be right now. He is in the limelight right now for the comments that he had made, and I'm offended at multiple levels for just certain things.
Yeah.
And
I think I saw
his
that
point
too.
of view just went all over the place. First, he attacks common folk like me that like football, that I just don't know what I'm talking about because I never played the game, which
Frickin'
I
white
played on
people.
occasion, but I'm sorry, I'm not an NFL player. But it turned from not only that, in that he knows more than I because he played and he can physically play better than I can and beat me.
It doesn't make any sense.
It turned into, let's make an all-black team versus an all-white team in the Pro
That's
Bowl.
racist.
And let's have the race bowl. Like, what the hell is that, Joe? Like, what? Like, what the hell was that? Like, what's the comments? And why all of a sudden bring this up? Like, what in his mind says, hey, I'm just feeling frustrated looking at, and what did he watch Joe Buck all of a sudden say something? Or just like, oh, yeah, obviously they can't do this.
All I got to say
like,
is
who is he watching? An average white dude that he doesn't like.
I want the man tested.
He
needs to be tested for everything.
Maybe he has CTE or something.
I think he has a lot of issues.
Running back, former running back in the NFL.
He has a lot of issues. That's all I know.
But to go that route.
Dude, I think it's absolutely absurd. It's asinine. It really is. There's no reason to go. And why all of a sudden, like out of thin air, you go that route? Mm-hmm. Like, what are you talking about? Like, actually, I feel dumber for listening to his comment.
That's the thing, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are you even thinking, dude? Like, not only was it a racist comment, but also none of it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, you're saying, well, because I was an athlete and I happen to be black and my name is Rashard Mendenhall and this white guy, like, who does he think he is talking football? I know more football than he does just because I played, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, that's not how it works. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of people out there that are super smart. It doesn't matter about your skin color that know football, they don't have to play the game. They studied the game. They watched the game. They're fans of the game, and they might have better points than you do, Rashard.
Yeah, and I could have even argued that. But then when he went the other route, it just throws it all out. And you're like, dude,
no,
really? What are you saying now?
He's good.
And I'm just wondering if it was taken out of context.
You know what it is?
When he gets these.
Well, it could be, but also it's a hot take thing. Mm-hmm. Like, is this something just to drum up interest in himself? Right. Like, to make him relevant again? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what it seems like from my perspective. It's like he came out of left field with this. And now all of a sudden, because he's getting all these comments and all these like reactions and
people know who he is now. There's fans like, dude, right now that don't have honestly, no idea who this guy is.
You were a good player. You were never great.
No.
You're not like you're.
He was an okay player.
You were nothing. Yeah. Like really, honestly, what did you do with your whole career? You got injured and everything, and then all of a sudden you disappeared.
Yes.
So crawl back into the hole that you came out of.
All right, there you go. And there's my naughty list. So there you go. Everybody in that list gets a stocking full of coal.
Okay,
so Joe,
I agree.
Yeah,
like
so there you go. All right, so now we're on to the nice stuff. The nice list.
So
here
we can
go.
talk some positive things.
Positive things.
All right.
Again, I think I only have one defensive player in this list. I'm sorry to defense, but there's a lot of great offensive things happening, I think, right now. So, all right, so let's get right into it. Even though he's injured right now, I like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's got to be on the nice list because even though you think
you think he's past all of his issues, with the wife and all that?
That's what's kind of funny. That's why he's kind of turned, it seems like to me. And it seems like since he's even been to Miami, it seems like he's on a tour to change his people's point of view on him. You know what I mean? Gifting a lot of different things to charities, to other things too as well. Now even that thing with the camera thing where he took the guy's camera, he's going to pay his salary even for, the season or whatever, you know. He's doing a lot of nicer things on the backside, but I was just looking even at performance. Just when you think he can't even step it up some more.
He did.
He's got 1,542 yards, and like I said, he's already missed, a game and a half so far,
right?
And maybe even another one. 12 touchdowns and 118.6 yards per game. This is per game. It's crazy.
Insane.
Yep, and his catch percentage, 73.5. It tops in the NFL with the best. And he keeps just getting better, Joe. And yards after catch, the old yak, 601 yards after catch, the yak. So yakety yak, don't talk back. Here he comes, Tyreek Hill, screaming through, still getting it done. An alarming rate, still surprises us more and more every year.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, you had to know. You had to know that when Mike McDaniels actually pulled off the trade for Tyreek Hill, and how creative his mind is. Like, I kind of expected Tyreek Hill to be not only a focal point of this offense, but also was going to have better numbers than he was in Kansas City. Like, I don't get me wrong. Andy Reid,
where he really was just a
creative,
focal point right now.
Really good. And he was a focal point in Kansas City.
Yeah.
But I think with the way Mike McDaniels runs his offense with a lot of drags and a lot of naked bootlegs and things with Tua, it kind of opens up and makes it not just hard to defend, but he's creating plays to make Tyreek Hill open. Even though everybody's focusing on him, somehow his offense is making him get open more often. And it's insane to me to watch these Dolphin games and say, Hill's coming on a drag and he's like by himself. Like, where's the defenders? Where'd they go? He's in the middle field. Easy throw for Tua. And then the yards after the catch, like you mentioned, there's no one around him. And good luck trying to catch the guy. He's so difficult. So I think Tyreek Hill is not only just killing it this year, but I think he's just going to continue to get better in this offense. Like, obviously it goes with health, and we've already seen him miss a game and a half and whatnot. But this Dolphins offense, we knew it was hot during the season. But if they can keep it going, man, if they can finish out the year with a couple of wins, going into the playoffs and taking that momentum in, they're going to be a dangerous team to contend in.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up, the one defensive player that I do have on this list, and it's just because, again, it's a very special year for him, Deron Bland. Again,
Bland?
Not exactly getting all those, tackles, or combo tackles here, at the secondary or pass defense, but you can't deny the fact that he's got, now the NFL's most all-time pick sixes in the league right now, Joe,
yeah.
And with 5, and he's got 8 interceptions on the year too as well. So really a ball hawk.
Phenomenal
on his
year.
And which is when you thought even that Trayvon Diggs was their guy that was the ball hawk taking all the picks. This guy steps up and bang 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 bang. He's like, oh, here you go, hold my beer. You know what I mean? So it's a great story for him, a young guy, and so far this year, again, he's on the nice list, man.
All I gotta say is Jerry Jones, open up your paycheck. You know what I mean? You gotta
checkbook. There it is, baby.
You gotta pay this guy. You gotta keep him because I think he's due to be a free agent actually at the end of the year, and this guy's gonna make bank. You can't. They already paid a lot of money to Diggs. And now you got to turn around and this has been a thing with Dallas where they spend a lot of money here and there. And it's like now when guys like this come up out of nowhere and you're like, can we really afford this guy? That's going to be interesting is how that all unfolds is how much money do they got to move around to try to make that thing happen and get him to lock in? Because you think about the future of this Cowboys defense. Now that they found this kid, You lock him up, and now next season you're looking at Diggs on one side and Bland on the other. Watch out, like that right there is just amazing.
Yeah, amazing. Because then where do you dare to throw? You know what I mean?
You know what I would do? I just pick on Diggs all day. Honestly, like you can get Diggs to commit because he's so aggressive as a corner that you can get him on comeback routes. You can get him on give and goes.
Yes, give and goes.
Kind of mix it up, and he falls for it. So because he's so aggressive. All
right, next up on my nice list, I've got Christian McCaffrey. Again, I think he was on my list last year, but even here he is again. Joe, where again, it stinks when we saw that trade when he went to even the 49ers. You're just like, are you seriously? Boom. And here he does it again. He remember even the one game where he finally broke his record of scoring a touchdown. He's like, I tried. I let my team down. Joking around about it. Yeah. But that's how crazy it is because it's phenomenal season. 1,292 yards carrying the ball, 13 touchdowns, and don't forget his receiving yards. He got 509 and also another 7 touchdowns. So this dude, 20 touchdowns on the year altogether. All around, a big focal point, one of the awesome focal points of this team, not only one of their best players because they have a bunch of them all over the place, and just imagine this team, he's getting all these points, but there's even more guys all around. Like you said, Brandon Ayuk, you got Debo, that are still having amazing years on top of it. So this is how scary it is. But Christian McCaffrey, dude, he's solid as a rock, and he's staying healthy again.
I know a lot of people love Christian McCaffrey in fantasy because with those kinds of stats, oh my God, he's definitely won people like games single-handedly. Sometimes I know last week he went off. So didn't Brock Purdy. So it's like, when you have numbers like that, like Tyreek Hill and what have you, they're killing it in fantasy too, not just the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up again, rookie sensation C.J. Stroud. is on my list here for the nice list this year. Again, 62.4 completion percentage for the rookie, 3,631 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 picks, Joe.
Yep.
Fucking golden.
And he's
here,
only
right?
missed, this will be his second game he's going to miss.
Yes. And again, the rating still a 98 rate, so still up there, looking really nice. Making plays, Joe, on a team that we thought, again, was growing, wasn't going to be where they are right now. And it's a lot of it is because of him.
Well, the one thing that if we go back to like when we talked about the draft, everybody out there was saying Bryce Young, Bryce Young, Bryce Young. We were one of the few that were saying, no, it's C.J. Stroud is the best quarterback. And C.J. Stroud is proving us right. And I thought that, yes, they still needed to work on some things, but with DeMeco Ryan there being the leader that he is, commanding that defense, he's really kind of not only just orchestrated and changed that defense around with younger players and has made them a pretty darn good defense, but also it's the emergence of C.J. Stroud where we thought that if he got it, if he was able to develop quickly and just not make a lot of mistakes. Now, we didn't see him playing this well this season, but we thought that Stroud, if he played well enough, that this team was going to win more games than not. And once again, Stroud and this Texans team is proving us right yet again.
Yeah,
That's all I have to say.
absolutely. All right, Joe, the next one on now my nice list. I hated to do this so much that, I thought I was going to puke in my mouth again.
Oh, no.
But you know what's coming. It's Dak Prescott, Joe. I've got
boy.
Dak
Yeah, I knew that
on
was
the
gonna
list. I got to give it to him again.
You got to give him props.
You do.
Yeah.
Because, again,
He's playing well.
He's got to be up there now with consistent QBR rating, too, up there near Aaron Rodgers. Because, again, he's had another 104 rate on the season. Again, he's consistently doing it. No matter how much people dog him for not winning the big playoff games. Again, you see the memes all over right now and stuff and shit. But 68.8 completion percentage, almost 70% again now, Joe. 3,639 yards, 28 touchdowns. 7 interceptions, still right there, 8 more touchdowns, C.J. Stroud, and 2 more picks, but not leading the league in picks like he was last year. So he corrected some of that, looking really nice, 104 rate, like I said, staying consistent, and just leading the charge for that team. It looks good.
I got to say it's going to make me vomit in my mouth, but I have to give props to Mike McCarthy.
I know. I hear you, too, yeah.
Because...
Yeah, I think this Christmas season we need to make amends on some of these things.
As much as I hate to admit it, I actually when he was going to take over the play calling duties, really wasn't that high on it. I was like, man, I don't know, are they going to be able to pass the ball like he loves to pass and whatnot? But hey, the Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy, in sync, they got chemistry and they know. Mike McCarthy's done a good job of calling plays that works better for Dak, and that's something that I was a little concerned about when he took over the play calling duties. So for Mike McCarthy and this offense altogether, they're amazing. Like Dak Prescott is just playing at a higher level right now with Mike McCarthy as the OC, and the rest of the team is just feeding off of it. So it's like you got a good defense to go along with this offense. It's hard to stop, but there are teams that have figured it out. Well, we'll say that. But overall, they're a difficult team to beat.
Yep. Overall, Mike McCarthy, we're sorry.
We hate you still. we still don't like you. Yeah, see?
All right. Next up now on the list for the nice list, again, this was a cool little one I put on there again because he hasn't had a full season right now and stuff, but surprise, surprise, he looks pretty good. And I'm not saying he's going to be anything, but right now he's got to be on the nice list, and it is Jake Browning. Again, going in for, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. I don't know why I forgot his name.
You were going to say Joe Flacco.
I know, right? Joe Burrow, where I'm just like, all right, well, Joe Burrow's out. Their playoff hopes are done. They're done. 3-4 or 3-1. in 4 starts. So looking pretty good. 73 completion percentage, 1,248 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 picks still, but still overall with a rating of 107.1 for a QBR rating here for him.
Yeah.
Winning games, getting it done under the formula that helps him work, not making a lot of dumb throws. As you can see, the completion percentage, high percentage throws, just not losing the game for him. And really, surprising again, because you don't see that out of a young quarterback coming in who really hasn't had a shot yet. He's getting his shot to do something. Right. And he's doing what a backup should be doing for you. And again, especially with a team
not losing games,
was kind of, people were thinking playoff bound, winning some games for him.
Definitely. The one thing that I'll say though is his true test is this week, and not because of who they're playing against. It's because they will not have Jamar Chase, and that's where a lot of those stats are coming from. Is because Jamar Chase is such a gifted player that he just manages to make all the catches, manages to just out jump corners and make some phenomenal one-handed grabs. Now, let's see what you can do as a quarterback, Browning, without that kind of a stud at receiver. So that, I feel like, is going to be a bigger test for him to see, is he really transcending to be that as good as his stats show, or can he overcome not having his number one option?
All right, next up here, Tua Tagovailoa. Here you go. So Tua, again, played well last year, but then again, stepped up his game this year. On top of it, 71 completion percentage, 3,921 yards. It's up there, almost at $4,000 right now. 25 touchdowns, 10 INTs, 106 rating. And again, that's out of a bigger pool than what we're looking at from Jake Browning. Only a few games, it's going to be a little higher.
Right,
Numbers are jousted a little bit. Yep. Tua, throughout the ups and downs, no much how they want to bust on his noodle arm and things like that, getting it done again with these weapons that he has, even without Tyreek Hill this past week, leading this team to where a few years back again with Flores, they were questioning him and putting Fitzpatrick in and out in the big game situations. He's stepping up and being that guy.
Definitely, and we kind of we were guesstimating, halfway through the year, and we kind of mentioned that Tua could possibly be in the running for the MVP. We think that he's transcending towards that way. He leads the league in passing yards. He's just got great stats, and obviously it helps when you have guys like Tyreek Hill and what have you at your disposal. But he played in that game with Jalen Waddle and Cedric Wilson, and those were his 2 go-to guys last week. So because of Hill's injury, if he's able to continue what he's doing now, hey, there's no reason why he can't be the MVP as well.
All right, finally here for my list, I've got Brock Purdy. Joe, Brock Purdy is
deservedly
lastly
so
on the list. And again, we've talked about it a little bit here, but again, to give you the numbers, 69 completion percentage, 5,169 yards. Oh my gosh, again, this is a real number. 42 touchdowns, 11 INTs, 115.4 rating, Joe. This is like Madden numbers, bro. It is crazy. And if you look on ProFootballReference.com, he leads the league in multiple. I didn't even want to list the different lists that he leads the league in. It's like 12 or something. It looks like Tom Brady incarnate, like kind of, is. And I'm not going to say he's Tom Brady, but like I said, he leads the league in many different phases of it and everything. Lighting the league right up. And like I said, and it's kind of funny how once he got a few losses, people were so quick to break him down. But this guy just, again, shuts up, doesn't say anything, just puts his head down, gets back to work. But with the weapons he has around him, makes it real nice. But again, not making the mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, Brock Purdy. And this is kind of what we laugh about this, is when the media out there, he had a couple of bad games this year, and they were like, oh, well, is Brock Purdy the right quarterback for the Niners? And they might have to make a change, and all these outlandish things that they were saying. And I'm like, guys, what are you talking about? Just honestly, this guy is not only playing at a high level, he played at a high level last year, and he's playing at a high level this year. And where's this coming from? Like, why would you want to move on from a quarterback like him, who is doing everything he needs to do? Yeah, he had a bad couple of games, but so doesn't every quarterback. Like the Aaron Rodgers of the league, the Patrick Mahomes of the league, the Josh Allens of the league, all these guys that you guys want to put on a pedestal, they have rough outings. And then when you start to criticize and question, their ability to play just because they had a couple of games, it's kind of insane. Now they're praising Josh Allen now. Oh, my God, the offense is so much better now. Josh Allen is killing it. But when he wasn't doing well, you guys were like, well, I don't know about this Josh Allen guy. Like, maybe we should move. No. Same thing with Brock Purdy. Stop the nonsense. Stop the quick takes. Stop the knee-jerk reactions because a guy just didn't have a good game. This guy is legit. Brock Purdy is legit. He's here to stay. Niner fans are super happy to have him, and why wouldn't you be? So I agree. Like, Brock Purdy definitely deserves to be on the nice list. Jim, would you mind if I add to that nice list?
Yeah, go ahead.
So there is a kid out of from Miami Dolphins who I think is going to be an absolute juggernaut next year, because we've seen glimpses of him just kind of destroying defenses, and that's running back Devon Chain. That kid, I'm projecting next year, should be a first-round pick in fantasy because not only is he going to rack up points, but we saw in limited time in 2 games was scoring something retarded like 30 points on average for fantasy. It was absolutely insane. So Devon Chain to me is definitely one of these nice players that maybe because of injuries this year.
Yeah.
But next year, I'm kind of like projecting. I think he's going to be super nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it just if he can stay healthy, he's been dealing with the injury bug a little bit lately. But yeah, absolutely, definitely lightning in the bottle right there. So it'd be nice for some of those fantasy owners next year. What's also exciting and like lightning in a bottle right now, it's actually in a can. It's Raise Energy. Joe, I'm drinking it tonight. I drink it just about every Wednesday, and it gives me the energy to make it through the show, even too on those long days that I'm working all day long and then doing this for you guys all night long. Don't forget, Raise 'em Up is the promo code at checkout, and you'll save yourself some cash on your next raise. Also, they have Raise cakes as well. Oh, that's right. I got some more Raise cakes in my cupboard. I should bake some of that warm
They
Raise
have
cakes
everything
later after that.
Any kind of supplements, whether you're looking for pre-workout, post-workout, during your workout, proteins, you name it, they got it. So, I mean, it's a great place. They got all kinds of things. They even have to-go packets like your energy drinks. They have in to-go packets where you can just take it with you, and when you feel like it, pour it in a bottle of water, shake it up, and there you go. You got some Raise.
Boom, you're ready to go, ready to
No
go.
doubt. Listen, you don't get tired after it. You don't crash. It's got a lot of good vitamins in it. Some things that regular energy drinks don't have, it has good stuff in it. So highly recommend it. Made in America, right down in Florida. Mike Tackett, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep, absolutely. And also don't forget our other sponsor here, the Long Shot Athletics.
Long Shot, baby.
Promo code Know-It-All at checkout. Get yourself some of that apparel. It's really great. Support the underdogs out there just like
That's
us.
right.
And we might design our own shirt through that.
We're trying to rise up here. We're
Absolutely.
trying to grow.
So definitely let's do it. Get yourself some merch there and help us out. And we're looking to save you some money too. On top of it, you'll save 20% if you do that.
Yeah, definitely. And while you're at it, you might as well head over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Also, let us know if you feel like catching the lives. You hit that notification bell, let you guys know when we go live. And take us along on your journey, wherever that may be. Work, vacation, just a stroll around the park. Take us anywhere you get your podcasts. That's where we're at. Spotify, iTunes, you name it. And just listen to us. Our sweet voices.
Yeah, because, there's a lot more annoying voices than what we have out there. I mean, come on, really?
We got the golden pipes, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next, Joe, we've got the standings here coming up. It's right there. It's neck and neck. It's really tight. It's getting tighter every week because you're getting those wins, man, and it's nuts. And it's getting towards the end of the season. So I'm just counting those games. I'm like, oh, man, can I just hang on? Because Joe is breathing down my neck. Let's see who's going to be drinking at the end of the season. It's going to be a good show. It's the drinking game show. Again. If you guys don't know, we do a competition from the stand. It's from the week picks. Loser drinks a big football-sized drink full of alcohol, and we have a lot of fun around the week after the Super Bowl. It's tons of fun, so definitely tune in for that and pick along with us. So we want to see your picks in the comments too. So light up the comments here what you're picking for this upcoming week. An exciting week where we have Thursday games, we have Friday games, we have Sunday games, and we have 3 Monday games, which happens to be on Christmas Day, and we have the Christmas Eve game. So, I mean, this is a stupendous year, Joe. A great Christmas football season.
Substituted from Saturday to Friday.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if I like that.
Are they going to block it all out to NFL Network again, though, and things like that? Because I hate when they do that to me.
Yeah.
That's just a kick
They're
in the
gonna-
nuts.
They
always
do
say,
it
"We're gonna
just because
add the
just
other
because you
game."
know.
I know. And I know there's other apps I could probably go to and other things, the way
Definitely
to watch
can.
it. But I'm terrible with that stuff. Anyways, that's where I'm the old man. Get off my lawn. All right. But anyways, Thursday night, these games surprise me no matter what because I think it's going to be a stinker and they end up doing something different and making it happen. The New Orleans Saints, they showed some offense, and it just took to play my shitty New York Giants team to really step up here. You know what I mean, right? Because I thought that was going to be a little closer than what that was, but the Giants couldn't do anything. Nothing right at all. Nothing offensively.
I
just laid a fat egg.
I don't know. I Saints did some things good, but I was like, their offense still wasn't all that. Like, I'm sorry. That offensive coordinator is absolutely terrible. Like, I watched that game again, and I'm just like, good God,
that's
they're
one thing
terrible
I've wondered
plays.
why they haven't fired him yet. You know,
They're
with where
Pete
they
Carmichael.
Pete Carmichael, yeah.
They're terrible plays. Like, why are you taking Derek Carr out of the lineup and putting Taysom Hill in to run the ball? Or why are you taking Derek Carr and putting him in a gadget play that never worked out? You're doing too much. Don't you realize that? Like, Derek Carr, when he's given the opportunity, especially in between the 20s, he can light up any defense. And he if you give him the freedom to do the checks and balances and do audibles, he can take you all the way to the homeland and score that touchdown. When he gets in a groove, I feel like I've seen this with the Saints, is that when Derek Carr gets in a groove, just leave him in there and let him do his thing. That offense will be tough to stop. But when you keep taking him in and out of the lineup and doing, like, lining up Jamal Williams at quarterback and running the football, and Taysom Hill goes in there to do a short pass, a screen pass, or it's just too much. Like, just leave your starting quarterback in and run it like a typical offense. You don't always have to bring in Taysom Hill every so often and make him like almost force feed the game plan to work. You have good enough receivers. You have a quarterback that's capable of making those throws and reads. Just let him work. Just let him cook. That's all I'm saying. So Pete Carmichael should be jettisoned out of there. It's got to happen. I will say this: if the Saints lose this game, if they lose next week, I think Dennis Allen could be on his way out, and Pete Carmichael. The whole thing. They're going to start with a clean slate. Fire Dennis Allen, bring in a new regime, and maybe. And that's the thing is Derek Carr is tied to Dennis Allen too. So if Dennis Allen goes, they might move on from Derek Carr as well because he was the one that wanted to bring him in.
Right. And the way this fan base is, they were in love with Drew Brees. All right.
Oh, they can't stand what they have now.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
Yes. Even when the time when they had a little bit of Taysom Hill and then Jameis Winston, they're really dead set against Derek Carr.
They hate everything.
They hate it, and so they would be ecstatic if that happens.
I don't know why.
It's because they're so used to that pedigree, even of what Drew Brees did for them, put them back on the map. Because nobody remembered the Saints since they went to the Super Bowl last, which was a very long time ago, in the 80s, I think it was. So it was tough. So I mean, when you're an organization and you're used to winning, look at the Patriots right now. Tom Brady all those years, and now you have what you have now. That's why there's so much talk about firing Bill Belichick now. Something needs to happen.
And getting rid of Mac
not
Jones.
used to this.
Yeah.
This is garbage. This is not us. This is terrible. You know what I mean? Break it all down. Redo it all. You know what I mean? They're not used to some of those rough years.
They don't know how to handle it.
Not like us, Joe. We've seen enough of these.
We're professionals.
Yeah, I know. Talk to us a little bit.
We
Let us
know.
help cope.
Listen, I think we have
help you.
Yeah, I think we have Kevlar on.
Yeah.
Like for fans, like we can handle it. We got strong
thick
shoulders.
skin.
We can
That's
take
right.
on the losses. We still go on. We still support our team.
Absolutely.
Even as shitty as they are, but we
Even
still
as
keep
shitty
it
as
going.
We support it.
Yeah.
That's right. So, Joe, in this one, after just saying a whole lot about
Whole
the
lot of
Saints
nothing.
here, the Rams, again, surprise team for me. If I got to say one of these teams that kind of surprised me and what position even they're right in right now to make this playoff push. they're playing really good right now. And it's even on, I will say, even all phases. Defense, not so much, I guess, but doing enough. Puka Nacua, what a great pickup for them, because that is
Rookie.
a nice compliment. Yeah, absolutely.
Rookie.
To on the side with a healthy Cooper Kupp, and then also have a little bit of that running game with Kyron Williams. It makes it nice here. And now Matthew Stafford staying healthy, not like last year where he looked like maybe, here he goes, he's getting injured again.
often.
It's going to be the downhill turn again because they paid him and stuff and
Right.
went all in on that Super Bowl. Turned it around a little bit here to where you and I had talked about why is even McVay coming back to this right now, and they're getting it done. So them being at home here on this special weekend of games in New Orleans, the way they've been Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sketch, I'm going to go with the Rams at home here.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Another big thing for the Saints is that they don't have Ryan Remzik, the right tackle. We already have known that this offensive line hasn't been stellar, hasn't been solid like we thought they were going to be. Whether it be the rookie that they have, and now Ryan is actually having a downturn year, but he's not even going to be available. So I can only imagine who they have for a replacement. It's not going to be very good either. Couple that with the fact that Chris Olave does make a return Thursday versus the Rams, so that's gonna be a positive. Obviously, he's coming back into the lineup, giving Derek Carr another receiver to throw to. But all in all, the offensive coordinator constant struggling with calling plays and just not getting it week to week, just not understanding what he has at his disposal. I think that, coupled with the fact that with the Saints defense not playing up to par, I think the Rams, they're on another trajectory altogether. They're another team that is ascending and at the right time in the NFC. I think the Rams get a win here.
All right. Next we've got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe, I mean, like you said, even he's got a tough one here against that defense here and Jake Browning, but it's not looking so good on Pittsburgh's side, though, either offensively. Mitch Trubisky, again, is a meme all over the place again, getting benched for a Mason Rudolph, which, some even our know-it-alls had said, in some of those comments here. So things are tough here for Pittsburgh right now. Moving on, Kenny Pickett gets the injury, and then now even Mitch Trubisky can't get it done for you. So even though they play better at home, this is a tough matchup here. It's going to be a tough defense. But Cincinnati's no dog either. They've been staying in this and keeping tight here. But Mason Rudolph, I just think, is really that much inept that he can't get it done. I trust more in Jake Browning against this Pittsburgh defense. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals on this one, even though they don't have Jamar Chase, Joe. I just think I believe in Cincinnati overall than I do in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, I would take the Cincinnati Bengals third-string quarterback right now over the Steelers because I have no faith in the Steelers team. I think a lot of Pittsburgh fans are fed up. They now are going to have Mason Rudolph, who is a third stringer, start. I think
a lot
that's
of
questionable.
Jalen Warren, maybe. Just keep feeding the rock if you can.
I don't think that's enough. I mean, you can't even get a running game going because you got no threat to throw.
Yeah.
So even though I feel like they have the weapons to throw to with Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, who they don't even really use anymore for some odd thing. Pat Freiermuth is healthy. He's going to be back again this week. I like what they have. It's just they're not implementing enough offensively to do anything. Bengals, you mentioned Jake Browning and his ascension, but this will be a test for him. Jamar Chase not going to play. He's out. But everybody else is pretty healthy. Yeah. Like their O-line is healthy. Their running backs, what have you, the rest of the receivers. So, and I love their defense. Like Trey Hendrickson is an absolute beast. He's an animal. He's scratching and clawing for that sack title. And I'm going to pick the Bengals, too, going into Pittsburgh and stealing it.
Even Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I feel like you left a lot of guys off.
Yeah, I did. It's tough. There's so many.
You were eliminating it, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was trying to eliminate it, or else I would have had a big old list. Of women like,
it could have been the whole show.
There was no checking it twice. All right, next up, we've got the Buffalo Bills and the Los Angeles Chargers. Joe, Chargers again. They're, are they going to play
revitalization of life now that Staley got fired?
Start playing now. I mean, that's the difference. And we've seen that with some of these teams here.
That's right.
But The Chargers, it's going to be tough because, one, again, even though they're playing home, it's never a home game for them. And it's even worse because the Buffalo Bills fans do travel. So it's going to be a tough outing for them here.
It's going to be Buffalo.
So it's going to be Buffalo all over. They're the hot team, even though their record doesn't show so much, but they're doing just enough to sneak back into this playoff hunt, and they're playing on all cylinders. Surprisingly enough, despite the record, top 10 in offense and top 10 on defense, despite missing some of those guys when we talked about when they didn't have Matt Milano and some others that have been injured.
Yep.
They've done what it takes to get back into it, and really they've turned to their running game and be able to get James Cook involved and get balanced again and use Josh Allen with his legs and stay healthy and make some plays and put him out there. And it just seems like, yes, it's scary at times, but that just might be the formula that just works for them. You know what I mean? To put him out there as a threat and a running option to where people are not sure, because you saw it even a little bit last week that even they did like a fake run that it was going to be a QB keeper, and lo and behold, there goes James Cook on the outside on a sweep. They totally bit in on Josh Allen running, and he was wide open going on the sideline. So it adds that extra thing for defense to think about, and it's really done numbers for the Buffalo Bills. They're playing really well right now. I'm going to go with Buffalo in this one.
Yeah, we talked about how they should, with Joe Brady taking over the play calling duties now, new offensive coordinator mind, that he would get back to what works for Josh Allen, and that's RPOs. It's utilizing Allen's legs and creating that deception where now you have to also worry about him throwing the football on top of him running, on top of him handing off to James Cook. And you noticed an uptick in plays with James Cook now with Joe Brady calling these plays, is they're not just utilizing James Cook as a runner, but they're also utilizing him in the passing game. And that's creating a big problem for defenses. So for the Buffalo Bills, look for much of the same this week against the Chargers, who are coachless. And yes, I think that they'll kind of be inspired a little bit to play in this game since Staley got fired. However, I don't think it's going to be enough against the Buffalo Bills team that is surging forward, and the stampede is coming, baby. Buffalo is coming to get into the playoffs. They're searching for it. This is where they get another win as well.
All right, circle the wagons. Here they come into Los Angeles, the Buffalo Bills. All right, here we go. Sunday, Christmas Eve. Joe, it's going to be an exciting time.
There's a lot of games for
family's going to
Christmas
be
Eve.
coming over tonight, that day, and watch some football and enjoy a family gathering.
Nice. That's
yeah.
cool.
What are you going to be doing for the holidays, by the way?
I don't know. I think I might go. I think my aunt is having like a family get-together dinner for Christmas Eve, like Christmas Eve dinner. So I think that's what the plan is. Other than that, like, I don't know, like probably take it easy. Just hang out.
I have the whole week off next week. So
You do?
Friday, you talk about Friday games, stuff like that. I'm excited because once I punch out on Friday, I'm gone for 10 days or whatever. I don't have to be
Nice.
back.
Nice.
Sorry, everybody. You know what I mean? But
Sorry, not sorry.
peace out. Yes, exactly. Well-deserved vacation I've been
Yes.
dying for.
You've been
not
wearing a
going
lot of
anywhere.
hats at
I'm
work,
just going to be
too.
chilling. Yes, I have. So it's going to be a nice mental break here. We've got one of our know-it-alls here in the house. Ryan McCarthy's
my
in the
goodness.
house with us here tonight.
It's a
Joe.
Ryan McCarthy sighting, everyone.
Oh, snap.
Ryan, what's going on?
know-it-all.
Welcome to the show, bro. He goes, the Bills are finally establishing an identity offensively. Firing Ken Dorsey was the best thing that could
have happened
for the offense. But the funniest thing is, did anybody see him get fired while he was in the booth and him completely losing his shit? Like, I'm talking throwing pens, throwing his playbook around, tossing computers and everything. It was epic. Like a complete meltdown. Like,
Why not? When you got
it
that
was
screen on you, like, it's funny too. Like
it's
when
up their nose.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. Like for the NFL, for all these different screenshots that they can do
Yeah.
from wire cams.
Yeah.
The picture they got is a little webcam like this, just propped up, looking up somebody's nose as they're an offensive coordinator. Knowing that it's just watching them at all times, even too. So I mean, if they do flip out, you see them throw their things around. Yeah, that is epic, Joe. There should have been more memes about that, but
Yeah, definitely.
But
definitely.
Ryan, absolutely
Appreciate the comment, Ryan.
Appreciate the comments out there. Let us know some more out there. Go along with the picks. I know we're going to be talking about your Jets in a little bit here. But the Bills, again, that's what they needed. They needed to stay balanced. And yeah, like I said, if it meant getting Josh Allen out there, more. It seems like that's the plan, and it's working.
And that's what works with Josh Allen, because that's what's made him a tough quarterback to defend is his ability to not only just throw the ball but also run. So now that they're getting back to that, you see the Bills of last year kicking in now.
Yep, at the right time. All right, you got the Indianapolis Colts and the Atlanta Falcons. I think this is the beginning of the tour de Arthur get fired. No, here it is, Joe. You think here it comes? Back-to-back losses here. Lose, first of all, to the Panthers, who are the worst in the NFL right now and in your division. You gave up first when it was yours for the taking at this point, and you couldn't do it.
But you do have Taylor Heineke now.
You do have Taylor Heineke,
so
which helps.
It definitely changes things a little bit.
Isn't it funny, even, too, if you look at it, with even the face of the league right now, that some of these quarterbacks that we're seeing, Joe Flacco, Gardner Minshew,
backup
versus,
quarterbacks,
Taylor Heineke and stuff like that, all these guys starting in some of these matchups that you're seeing quarterback-wise.
Yeah, I don't know if this season, but, a lot of starters went down. And for quite some time, almost all year, to the point where, I don't think there's ever been a time where as many backup quarterbacks have started the rest of the season all at the same time. There's I don't know. I saw something like 10 or 12 backup quarterbacks are now starters because there's starting quarterback for most of these teams. It's crazy.
Yeah,
season.
Probably most of the playoff teams are probably made up of teams that had stayed the healthiest and not lost their quarterback, that had the remaining starting quarterback. But this is going to be a tough one for Atlanta, Joe. What do you think about this one? The Indianapolis Colts traveling to Atlanta.
I mean, the one thing I'll say is the Colts defense has been playing really well. They've been really kind of holding themselves in games. And I will say the production from Michael Pittman Jr. has been off the charts now. Gardner Minshew, now that he has been kind of solidified as the starter as a backup, he's not only gained chemistry as week to week to week, but also I feel like he's understanding the offense even more because he's spreading the ball to different receivers every single week. And he has multiple throws to receivers every single game to the point where it's making him not only a better quarterback, but this offense is also getting better. So this week, it looks like possibly Jonathan Taylor will make a return this week, and that only makes this offense better. Atlanta, I know I would believe that the team has kind of given up on Arthur Smith at this point. I don't think they're going to be as inspired, even though Taylor Heineke is kind of like a little bit of a spark. I'm not sure if they're going to be all on board and doing everything they can to win this game. So I'm going to go with the Colts and how hot they've been lately to beat the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one again. I've never been a big, liker of the Atlanta Falcons here either. In Indianapolis again, I think they've got enough to beat in Atlanta right now. Identity-wise, I'm not sure what Atlanta is. Again, last season it was all run, see what you can. You go out and draft Bijan Robinson, and you can't really even get anything done. And the fact that you have Kyle Pitts and some of these other weapons, and you can't get the ball to them, because you're inept at quarterback.
Well, the problem is the plays are terrible.
Yeah, the plays are terrible.
They're
too. That's what I mean too.
It's like
how can you
he's calling a play for the wrong time or wrong spot on the field, the wrong situation all the time, to the point where that's why this offense is so stagnant and they just can't get any points on the scoreboard.
Right. And if you look at his, why we think even Arthur Smith should be even let go, he has been a tight ends coach and other coach, backup for most of his career.
Right.
Mainly with the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until they got Ryan Tannehill there, and they finally decided to use, Derrick Henry more, that they had success there. Before that, he wasn't, taking Mariota and really, grooming him at all. He didn't make any quarterback better. And now you've got Mariota, who was on their team, a year ago, didn't do anything with him still, and you aren't able to groom Desmond Ridder. So you're not a quarterback guru or anything near that.
No.
And that's the thing. You're not developing anything.
But the other thing, too, of that
that's what
is
you were brought here to kind of do.
That offense with Derrick Henry was Matt LaFleur. That was all him. That was when his succession of running the ball with Derrick Henry and then utilizing when they had to Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball. That's what got him a head coaching job. Then when Arthur Smith was inserted as the OC, it was only for like 1 year, 2 years,
season,
short amount of time. And all of a sudden he's got head coaching. I think he was rushed into that, wasn't ready for it, and still isn't. And it's showing on a week-to-week basis right now for Atlanta. So obviously Atlanta made the wrong decision. Now correct it. Get rid of Arthur Smith.
Here we go. We've got the Seattle Seahawks and the Tennessee Titans.
Before we get to that, Ryan also said, I've checked out on my New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers has also checked it out, and I don't blame him, especially with the offensive line.
One big pile of shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is like, that's another thing that perplexes me. Is like Mekhi Becton. This guy he's actually been pretty healthy all year.
Yep.
And this is a contract year. This is where the Jets are going to decide whether they keep you and sign you or they're going to move on from you. It looks like they're going to probably move on from this guy because even though he's been healthy, he's been giving up a lot to defensive linemen. So, definitely that's going to be an area to work through for the offseason for the Jets as they're going to look to upgrade that position at offensive line because especially with Rodgers returning next year, they're going to want to keep him upright. Don't let him get hit.
All right, next up, Joe, we've got the Seattle Seahawks and the Tennessee Titans.
Yes.
Titans played tough last week, just coming up short in a game they almost had. They should have probably had. And the Seattle Seahawks surprising people, here winning against the Philadelphia Eagles with Drew Lock at the helm. Now, is Drew Lock going to be able to start this game? I'm not sure if they're going to go with Geno Smith or not. You got the.
I will say this:
list?
Geno Smith was ready to go this past game,
okay,
but they still decided to go with Drew Lock because they wanted to give Geno another week of rest. Full participant as of Wednesday, so it's almost a shoe-in. But despite maybe perhaps a setback or something, Geno Smith is going to start for the Seattle Seahawks.
All right, so what do you think about this one here? Tennessee plays better at home.
They do play better
Seattle
at home.
does play better when they're at home. So, I mean, it's a tough game. It's going to be close. I think this is going to be a tight game. I think Mike Vrabel would do a lot to get it done. And Will Levis, again, I think has played phenomenally, too, as well.
As a rookie.
Playing really well and not turning the ball over really either. It's just they've just been tight engaged.
Not only that, but honestly, as a rookie being thrown to the wolves like that mid-season, like, all right, kid, it's up to you. And making some things happen week to week, he's not doing too much. He's not trying to force something to happen, like you mentioned. Like he's not turning the ball over. And he's just running the offense that's called. He's taking what's given to him defensively. So, and when he has to, he utilizes his legs. Very fiery type of personality. So the team feeds off of that, and that's all well and good. But you're playing a Seattle team right now that is very good defensively. They're getting back their starting quarterback in Geno Smith. There's a lot to like there. We saw how much they ran the ball this past game with Kenneth Walker III. Look for them to kind of do the same to kind of soften up the defense. However, this Tennessee Titans defense is pretty stout. They are difference makers. The only thing that kind of concerns me for the Titans is that the injury report. There's an awful lot of linemen, a lot of wide receivers that all have not practiced up to this point. It's midweek. Typically, that doesn't really mean much midweek because things could change Thursday or Friday. Typically, you want to see that Friday injury report to have all probables or questionable at least. That kind of concerns me. And then Will Levis himself has an ankle injury. How severe is it? Up to Wednesday, has not practiced. So a lot of things that are kind of pushing me to go Seattle. So I think I'm going to go Seattle Seahawks in this. They're pretty healthy, and they're coming to Tennessee to make sure they get this W.
Yeah, I think I'm going to roll with you on that one as well because, again, that's sketch there, and I'm not so sure about that. And if they do have to pull to like a Malik Willis, I'm not.
That's not going to be good.
So that would not be good. Detroit, and what's funny, bringing up just Tennessee real quick, and then we'll get right to our picks. I think it's funny how if they've already moved on with this, when did they bench Tannehill and just say finally, like, we're just moving on. We're going to try with our, rookie, and move forward to see what we have. And I know they didn't bench him because of play. He was injured, but then all of a sudden said was not come back. But if it was around trade deadline, I'm surprised some of these other teams that were trying to make a push did not try and get a Tannehill. because he was definitely efficient enough, and he's better than what some of these others have tried to get. When Joshua Dobbs went to Minnesota and things like that. I'm just kind of surprised that Tannehill is just sitting there now.
The issue with that is you can't trade an injured player. NFL rules. You can't trade an injured player. He probably wasn't healthy enough to trade before the trade deadline, so it just wasn't going to happen. Now, let's just be devil's advocate here. Let's just say he was healthy. Do I think Tennessee would have expressed it? Possibly. But I know that they would like that insurance if Will Levis did fail and was terrible his rookie year, that they could always go back to Ryan Tannehill. And I think that was kind of in their back pocket and in the back of their mind. So I don't believe they would have traded him just for that reason. If they were to, it would have to be something where a team gave up more than they thought they would get for him.
All right, next, moving on to now the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. This freaking game again, because it's going to be tough. Detroit, I'm not sold on them all the time.
I love how you opened that up.
Yeah,
that was perfect.
Again, that's just one of these games like this that just gets me, because Minnesota playing at home, it's tough because they do play better even at home. Detroit, they should win this game again. You know what I mean? Even though, Minnesota's at home. Detroit, this is a tougher game. But they step up for games like this, Joe. The offense, if they run like they did last week, they could do this. But again, they're so inconsistent. They maybe blew their load last week, and now they can't do it this week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
So Minnesota's getting healthier as we go. But again, they did pull out on. I keep making my weird references, but Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs is not the starter for them now either, too. So Minnesota's in a weird point for them, and where they're going, whether they can trend upwards or go downwards on this one. But I'm favoring Detroit on this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm headed to. Like, after Dobbs got into town and he made some plays with his legs and did the necessary things to try to keep the boat afloat here for Minnesota. But I don't know. Even though it's in Minnesota, they have been playing better. Like, the defense has been playing much better than anticipated. The offense has been lingering around, but just imagine how good this team could be with Kirk Cousins right now.
Yeah.
Like, if Kirk Cousins was healthy, man, we're talking about this team pushing for the division, maybe even easily winning it. But that's not the case. We're at where we're at. But Detroit, this is another game where you need to win this game. This is in the division. You need to get a win here and knock Minnesota down another peg. So I'm going to go with Detroit. I think Detroit Lions are pretty healthy right now. And some good news for Detroit is they're going to get some help in the back end of the defense. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is designated to return from IR finally. So that would be huge if they could get him back there.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Mullins has done okay for them again, but still not enough
I like
to
Nick.
get it done. But
I like Nick as a backup. However, he's limited. Like, even though it looks like his face is completely stretched out to the max all the time, where his eyebrows are up by his forehead and is a little weird looking, but he's okay. But I don't think he's like that much better than Dobbs, or maybe even they're about the same, but with no legs, to run.
I have no legs. There we go.
I don't know. I think it limits their offense. And if they can't establish a run game against Detroit, they're going to be in trouble.
All right, here we got the Washington Commanders and the New York Jets. I know Ryan said he has totally checked out on them.
He has checked out.
Zach Wilson getting banged up in that last game. Is he good to start in this game, though? I mean, if he is, I'm saying the Jets are going to take this game just because, one, their defense can just score by themselves. And with the fact that, all the points I brought up when I talked about my naughty list and Sam Howell, I expect 1 pick six, 10 sacks, a forced fumble, and that's just, on the Washington side. I haven't talked about the Jets side, though, on top of that, so we could have maybe a little bit of pressure for them, but we know how weak that Washington Commanders line is. And now you face this defense on top of it.
Defense is really good.
Yeah.
And one quick point here on the Jets' defensive line is what is unfathomable to me is how deep their D-line is. Like, they literally have talent behind their starters that could be starters elsewhere. That's how talented this defense is. And then on top of that, you obviously you look at the secondary and the linebackers and all them working together,
Yes.
which is where you get such a good defense that they have. Despite their 5-9 record, it's not because of the defense.
Yes.
It's not because of Robert Saleh's defense. It's because the offense has been shaky at best. And I'm sorry, I can't pin the complete blame on the quarterback in Zach Wilson.
Yep.
Yes, he's made some stupid mistakes. Of course he has. But also he's made some great plays with his legs or his arm or whatever that I say it's also has to come down harsh on Nathaniel Hackett at OC as the offensive coordinator, the guy that's calling the plays. Play from the players. So the Jets overall, I like what they have going on. I know that the record sucks right now and they're not going to make the playoffs, but this is one of those games where neither is Washington, and this is a battle for pride. This is a battle for possibly their coaches' lives, because we know that Ron Rivera is on thin ice. We know that there's been rumors, anyway, about possibly Saleh losing his job. I don't think that's a good decision if it is made, but this is where the Jets kind of take ownership and say, you know what, we're playing hard for our coach. We're going to get another win here. I got the Jets winning against Washington.
Yep. I'm going to roll with you on that one, too, as well. Finally pick another home team. Washington, again, it's just they're just not good right now. Washington, who knows? If they lose to the Jets now, we'll just put it this way. Jets, with what their record is, how they are aren't going to make the playoffs. But Washington, again, get another loss.
Yes.
Ron Rivera, hot seat on the way out.
Listen, we've said that like it's probably time to move on from Ron. I mean, it's kind of ran its course. It almost makes sense too. You think about the new regime taking ownership of the team, the new regime, the new owners making that decision, saying, "Hey, we don't want to pay these DNs a lot of money. At least Chase Young has been injured a lot, so let's trade him away." Montez Sweat, I don't know what the decision was there, but they decided to move on from him too. They're making big changes. It's bigger than normal when you first take over a team, and what's going to cap it off is Ron Rivera getting fired and them getting a whole new their decision to hire a new coach who they want and move forward that way.
Yep, absolutely. Next up, we've got the Carolina Panthers and the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh, this is a sexy game.
We should see how much tickets are, Joe. Maybe we'll go and try and visit.
It's
to try and see how much
$2.50
tickets are here, so yeah,
could be.
It could be. That would be nice if it is. But I'm saying
the flight would cost a lot more.
Yes. So again, with the way Carolina, yes, they pull out a victory here, but it was really an epic failure on the Falcons' really point of view here on this one. Green Bay, they've been in every game. It's been tough. I like their defense.
I know.
Again, Jordan Love looks real good still too, and again, he just kind of shrugs off every play, even though it's negative or whatever. Still going through his growing pains a little bit, but this is a great matchup for them to go through. I like the Green Bay Packers to bounce back against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take Green Bay as well. Real quick, I just like the team overall better for the Packers than I do Carolina. Carolina's been struggling all season long, and Bryce Young included. Like, yeah, I understand he's a rookie, but something tells me that he's limited in the NFL. College, he was electric. NFL's a whole different ball game, and it shows. Overthrows some of his receivers that happen to be open. Maybe he makes the wrong decision, tries to force the ball and gets picked. He also turns the ball over fumbling. He gets hit a lot as a quarterback, gets taken down. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to last with his slender body there, but I'm going Green Bay to wreak havoc against Carolina.
All right. Next, we got the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans. Houston plays really good at home again. Is Case Keenum going to be the starter in this one?
Probably, because Stroud ain't playing.
Yeah. So, I mean, Case Keenum did enough to get it done, but again, that was a tough game, and just barely edged out. But Cleveland, they're going to have to face a tough defense here in Cleveland. I think Cleveland, they kind of underestimated the Bears a little bit, And the Bears really play
Bears are
tough
right
at home
there.
too. You know, they're tough, and offensively, they
Yep.
got something special when their quarterback's in there. So I think Cleveland can still they barely edged out last week, but I think they're gonna come back here and still do well. I like the Cleveland Browns here with the number 1 ranked defense over the Houston Texans.
Yeah,
and
you know,
Case Keenum.
the
It's
Houston
funny how you end up going all the way back to Houston again.
Yeah, the
Defense, it's way back.
Texans, they did enough and they played well enough to beat Tennessee.
Yes.
Now they're playing Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
one of the best defenses in the league. I think it's going to be a little different of an outcome. Whether it be Case Keenum, whether it be the guy they get out of the hot dog stand, I don't think they have a quarterback capable besides Stroud to try to upset Cleveland here. Cleveland 9-5. They're looking to stay in this divisional hunt. They need a win. This is a must-win type of game for Cleveland, honestly, to try to get back up the ranks. I got Cleveland in this one with Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. There you go.
The savior of Cleveland.
There you go.
Guy
Nice.
that comes off the couch is like a white knight in shining armor and just delivers touchdowns every week.
Yeah.
Go Joe.
Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Jacksonville got hosed last week, I think, on that non-touchdown call. What do you think about that one in the end of the game? Close when his knee was down, they said it was not a touchdown. It's tough. I think the officiating has been really disappointing. They are every year, but I mean, some of the calls this year have been kind of.
I think it's
preposterous.
been like that
No
for
calls.
years.
I
I
get
think
you.
there's always been
But-
calls like that kind of skew games, and sometimes it's in the favor, and sometimes it's not in favor of your team. Like I feel like they just this is always going to be a thing. We gotta. I know we can't accept it because when it's a blatant mistake by the refs, that's when we kind of lose our shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of when we're like, how can you not see that? Even in the instant replay, how are you not looking at that and telling me that it's a catch or not a catch or pass interference, whatever? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's kind of that's where we get upset. I understand penalties are part of the game. I understand that like there's certain aggressive penalties that are made. I really don't care about that. Like if someone throws another dude down, okay, yeah, he held him, whatever, we'll take it. But these plays that are bigger plays, like pass interference calls and stuff like that, that kind of changes the momentum, changes the game a little bit to the point where you got to be careful. If you're a ref, you got to be careful with what you do. And sometimes I feel like they're not doing their individual jobs correctly. And I've noticed this even in flag football. I've noticed referees sometimes kind of get lost in the play. Like if your job is a line judge, you're supposed to look at the line, make sure no one's offsides, make sure there's no holding. As the play's going, you're supposed to be watching the lineman. That's your job.
Yeah, not
to
watching the
watch the
game.
receiver,
Yeah,
not to watch the running back go out in the flat. Watch the damn lineman the whole play. And then when the ball gets thrown, sometimes I almost think that they kind of get lost in the, instead of
watch it,
watching,
yeah.
continue to watch your job, I feel like they trail off and start watching the play.
Yes.
I think it is part of human nature because we want to just follow everything. But also, if that's not your job, keep doing what you're assigned to do. That's why we notice some of these holding calls don't get called. Or maybe there should be a holding call made and they just still don't do it. So, I don't know. I kind of went off the rails there a little bit talking about the refs, but nonetheless,
piece of candy.
Jacksonville, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay
Piece of candy.
is leading right now in the division. They
Yes.
have a legit shot to make the playoffs. And a team that, honestly, I think we had them finishing last or something like that. Or third, or like lower in the division.
The Panthers are in that division.
Oh,
so
no, that's
we
right.
did-
Carolina we had
definitely
last.
Carolina,
and we had
but,
Tampa probably third.
I had Tampa higher than you did, but yes, we were definitely not expecting
No.
what we were
No.
expecting.
Well, I mean,
we were expecting the Saints to be there, and they let us down.
exactly.
poorly again.
so far.
But I think this hinges on how healthy their quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars is. Because again, we've seen him
He's got a bum
fight
ankle.
through, the injury and try and get it done. But I think Jacksonville, if he's in, Trevor Lawrence, if he's in this game, it's Jacksonville's game. Tampa Bay, they've won, and Baker Mayfield probably played his best game, I think, last week or whatever. But still, not not the best, this Tampa Bay team, especially even on defense, having their issues at linebacker here, and where Devin White now is not even with the team here. Jacksonville, they just barely got edged out in that game. It was a tight one, and I think they got screwed at least making it closer and kind of winning that game. But if Trevor Lawrence is in, they've got this game.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is, like, with Jacksonville, it looks like C.J. Beathard is probably going to get the start. Yeah. He's the one taking all the snaps, full participant. Trevor Lawrence remains in concussion protocol. Yeah. Usually by Wednesday, if you haven't shown signs of improvement or past the protocol, typically you're not going to play this week. So it looks like Lawrence is not playing. And Tampa, I got to be honest, we've known for quite some time they got good defensive players.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles is a defensive guy, but he's not a head coach.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield and company with that offense, it seems like, I'm not saying that they're so much better than what they were when they started off this season, but they have gotten a little bit better. You've seen a little bit more development and chemistry there with the receivers. Mm-hmm. And Mike Evans learned how to catch again, so that's a plus.
Yes.
So with that all being said, it's the Battle of Florida here. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay at home against the Jags.
Yep. And like you said here, too, if it's not Trevor Lawrence, I think that was their shot.
Definitely their shot, because that offense that runs through Trevor Lawrence. Like, I know he's the quarterback and whatnot, but that offense is so much better when he's in that lineup.
Yep, absolutely. All right, next we've got the Arizona Cardinals and the Chicago Bears. I think this is going to be a close game. This is going to be a nice game to watch. Yeah, yeah. Arizona again. They've really turned it on. I think once they Kyler Murray got inserted
in Chicago too.
They were keeping it close even when they had Joshua Dobbs. That defense, there's some nice points to that team. That keeps them in it. And I thought along which that game was going to play out the way it did last week. I said the first half it's going to be tight. They're going to keep it tight, but then they just don't have what it takes to compete with a team like that. Mm-hmm. So they tailed off and end up losing by double digits. True. So it happens with this team. But with Chicago, it's a different team now. I think this is going to be tight knit. But Chicago, I think, especially at home, with I think we're going to see two quarterbacks scrambling around, making a lot of crazy plays to their guys. But I like Justin Fields here and the Chicago Bears at home.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about this is the Bears and Justin Fields. Do you keep them? Do you move on from them? Do you draft a quarterback this year? There's all been that chatter in Chicago, outside of Chicago. What are they going to do? 2 high first-round picks, thanks to Carolina. They could easily take a quarterback and another blue-chip player high in the draft. Is that better? Is the quarterbacks that are coming out, that's the biggest question I would say, is the quarterbacks coming out better than what you have already in Fields? Or is Fields better than they are? Obviously, we all know 3 years down the road is when you're going to really find out. But if I'm projecting, I'm willing to bet that Fields is better than the majority of the quarterbacks coming out. I'm willing to bet that he's better than Drake May. I'm willing to bet that he's better than Caleb Williams. I'm willing to bet that he's better than Michael Penix Jr. Willing to bet he's better than Bo Nix. You're getting the picture. Mm-hmm. The one quarterback that is the most enticing and interesting quarterback coming out in the draft to me is Jaden Daniels, the Heisman winner. He's the one player where I'm really not sure. I've seen him play head and tails above the competition at quarterback, where to me, he should be the number one quarterback coming out. If that's the case, you might want to go Jaden Daniels route. But if the Bears aren't confident in that, you stay with Fields and build more around him. So I think Chicago should stick with him and kind of work with him and build around him. But with all that being said, Jim, I can't pick Chicago again. I told you that early in the year that this team, every time I kind of start to buy in and say they're going to win this game, they should win it. They got Fields back, blah, blah, blah. They just drop it. They drop the ball. Mm-hmm. They don't do anything. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go Arizona.
Go Arizona on this one. There you go.
I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. I'm going to go with whoever's at their disposal at receiver. And I'm going to rock with Arizona on this one.
All right. Yeah. You've been burned before, Joe. I've been there, you know?
It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts, man.
They almost had it last week. Let me tell you, man, that tip ball, they got batted down.
We have
almost
another
right in his
know-it-all that
hands,
just
so.
chimed in.
All right. What do we got?
Jonathan Santos says, to go back 25 years and slap myself for allowing myself to cheer for the Vikings.
Oh, for when we went over
Yeah,
with our thing.
for the holiday wish.
The holiday wish. To what? What was it again?
To go back 25 years and slap myself for allowing myself to cheer for the Vikings.
Oh, man. Yes, man.
Jonathan, appreciate the comment, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. We appreciate it out there. The Dallas Cowboys now and the Miami Dolphins. This is going to be a nice game to watch, I think. Like you said, it's tough, though, because you've seen Dallas
it's
and some of
another
these
good one.
NFC teams face these AFC teams and just not
Yeah.
be there.
But can
on the other flip side of that, I'm just bringing it again, Miami Dolphins, people are still questioning when can they really beat a really good team now, though. Dallas, they've kind of been proved to kind of be a pretty good team, at least in the NFC side.
not against a really good team, though.
But not against a good team. So both teams kind of looking at that same type of, what do you call it? Even that schism. You know, that's what people see both of these teams at. So which one's going to come out on top out of this one?
That's the thing is, like, Dallas, you can't lose. You just can't afford to lose back-to-back at this point. You're still trying to fight for this division. It's for grabs, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles have not cemented it, and the Eagles have proven to us that it's any given Sunday. We've known that, but the Eagles look more and more shaky than ever. So Dallas, they got to win this game. Like we talked about Deron Bland. We talked about his ascension and everything, and man, this is a tough one to pick, I got to admit, but I just love Miami. I love their offense. I love their defense. They're healthier than they've ever been. And
their offensive line is all injured right now.
Nah,
Their
it's
full
all
offensive line.
hogwash.
Is it?
All
I don't know.
hogwash.
But then Kane's not going to play.
Who?
They're running back.
Oh, yeah, but he wasn't going to play. He didn't play last week.
I know. I'm just saying they've got a lot of injuries.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Okay. So you're
Don't
going to
spoil
go
it.
Miami?
Don't just jump in and
being devil's
no. All they're missing is Teron Armstead, who hasn't played in 3 weeks, so that's no different. Tyreek Hill's the one that to me that stands out and hasn't practiced, but because it's an ankle, because I saw him walking around last week, even after he was on the sideline and whatnot. I don't think it's any big concern. I think there's a possibility he plays anyway, and even if he doesn't, this receiving core that they have is good enough. Like, they're good. So I'm going to go Miami with this one. I think the Dolphins and Tua are going to pull away and get a win here at home.
This is going to be a tough one for me because I really think Dallas can get it done. But
could being the thing.
Playing even in Miami, that might be even,
Get ready to be in the sun.
Yeah. Not that Dallas isn't afraid of being, but they play in a dome when they're in Texas.
Yeah.
But I hate the Cowboys, so I think I'm just going to err on the side of caution on this one and go with the Dolphins. Then.
Err on the side.
Yes, because I'll be ecstatic if Miami wins on this one. All right, New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos.
Why?
Patriots
Why?
Are terrible.
Why?
Well, yeah, they should have flexed this game out. Why didn't they flex the Dallas and Miami one for the Denver and New England?
Why?
You already flexed New England out of the Monday night the one time.
You can't.
So why not just do this one? Yeah,
this
is terrible.
Because here's my thing with the whole the scheduling, is New England wasn't good last year. Why would you put them in so many primetime games this year?
Yeah.
Like, what are you projecting them to make an immediate turnaround and saying, oh, they're going to be legit? Like, what was the thinking there? Oh, that's right. There wasn't thinking. Because you want to know why they use AI to do schedules now.
Yeah, and the NFL sucks off the Patriots still.
It's crazy.
Until they learn that they suck.
It's crazy. No,
so, I don't. For me,
there.
Again, New England, they could play these guys tough, but after the explosion of emotions on the sidelines with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, you think Russell Wilson got put in the doghouse on that one?
Oh, he's been in the doghouse.
He can learn maybe from that. I'm going to go with the Broncos on this one.
Yeah, that whole thing between that relationship, we talked about it earlier in the season, that it's already broken. It's already broken. Like, I really do think that Sean Payton wants to move on from Russell Wilson after this year and wants to go get his quarterback. So what that means, we'll see, whether it be draft or maybe he pulls off a trade or Who knows? Brings in someone off the free agent heap. But New England, again, not a very good team. The only thing that works out for this team is defense. That's the only thing that keeps them in games. They screwed up last week. They played the Chiefs. They played them tough early on. Hell, they even had the lead in the first quarter.
Yep.
But turnover. You can't commit a turnover against a good team. The Broncos have a pretty good defense themselves. Maybe not as good as the Patriots, but they're opportunistic. And I believe that the way Sean Payton is with his offense, and despite the friction between Russell Wilson and him, that offense runs a little bit better than New England's. So I'm going to go with Denver as well.
All right, let's ride. All right.
Don't ever say that again.
I might be power napping because I'm going to go to midnight mass that night. So I'll just skip that game. I'll sleep during that one. So next we got the Vegas Raiders here and the Kansas City Chiefs. There you go, Joe. You were wishing for your Christmas thing that you could beat the Chiefs, and there it is, lo and behold, on Christmas Day, 1 o'clock. The Raiders and the Chiefs at home in the Kingdom. I'm going to go with the Chiefs on this one. I think it was nice
way to go out on a limb.
The Vegas Raiders, it was cool to see what they did here. But, again, I think they just really feel it at home, and they really step up under the lights here in that beautiful stadium. It's going to be tough. Even though the Chiefs aren't the Chiefs of old, I think they definitely have enough firepower to get it done here, against the Vegas Raiders. Yeah, even though at times some of these guys can't catch a damn ball.
This is a team that you're right. Like, I would think if you're comparing the team from a couple years ago to now with Kansas City, that their offense was much better a couple years ago, but they've adapted to still being efficient, still being, one of the better offenses by just spreading the ball around. And the emergence of Rashee Rice, I got to say, I didn't expect this kid to be much of anything in the NFL. I've seen him drop the balls a lot in college, so I was like, I'm not sure. Perhaps they're putting the work in. They're getting his hands better, whatever. He still tends to drop it once in a great while now, instead of all the time.
Yep.
But same could be said with all their whole receiving corps. So I think for Kansas City, they just got to limit their mistakes. Don't drop the football as much, because we saw the last time the Raiders faced Kansas City, there was a lot of drops. There was a lot of missed opportunity, which kept the door open for the Raiders. Even though the Raiders are playing under a different coach this time around, I'm kind of wondering, they're not going to have that lackluster offensive play calling anymore. We saw evidence of it against the Chargers, how creative they were, how they utilized everybody, and Josh Jacobs looks like he's returning for this matchup. Same thing with Isaiah Pacheco. He's been out of the lineup for the last couple of weeks. He's coming back for this game. So it seems like both teams are gearing up for each other for an epic clash Monday on Christmas Day. Vegas Raiders going into Kansas City. I would say I would actually pick the Raiders if it was at home, if it was Las Vegas. But because it's under a new coaching staff now with Pierce and whatnot. But now that they're going into Kansas City, it's a very difficult place to play. They know it very well, but I still got to tip my hat to Kansas City. The one team in this division that they just can't figure out how to beat. If they pull it off, phenomenal. It'd be amazing. And that would probably cement Pierce's job to be head coach. Yes. Yep. How can you not after that? But I'm going Kansas City as well.
All right. We've got the New York Football Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles look
Will they give up the game?
Right now. Will they lose 4 straight now? To Tommy DeVito now.
Hey, Tommy.
Going into Philadelphia. I don't think so. This is the time to right the ship, get it right here in Philly. The Giants never win in Philly, no matter who's the quarterback. I like the Philadelphia Eagles. Nothing crazy about this.
Yeah, I think the Eagles got to bounce back this week, and they're playing a team where they could easily do it, a team that's still trying to figure things out. Tommy DeVito, listen, I love the kid. I love how he's kind of ascended and grown as a quarterback. I mean, no, it's been a limited amount of time he's been out there, but you can see that week to week he gets more comfortable. He's starting to, they're utilizing him throwing the football. He's throwing on the run really well, actually, and then also utilizing his legs. Giants could keep this thing close. Usually with these divisional rivalries, even though one team is better than the other statistically and record-wise, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants keep this close for a while. Who knows what can happen, but I'm going Eagles.
Yep. All right. We've got now finally here at 8:15,
here we go.
The Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers, the game of the week that everybody's been looking out for.
This is an amazing game.
One of the best in the AFC and the best in the NFC right now. So
That's
an
right.
NFC, AFC shot here. Again, a lot of these ones could potentially be your next Super Bowl. You know, some of these AFC, NFC championships that you see some of these.
True.
San Francisco and Baltimore played in the Super Bowl not too long ago, and it was under Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh. Colin Kaepernick was in that game, and also Joe Flacco, who is actually the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns right now. So what a crazy season that all this has come to terms here and come back around. But the Baltimore Ravens, they are dangerous with running the ball. They are starting to spread it out a little bit more, but I still sketch a little bit still. I don't still trust them as much on that end as I do the San Francisco 49ers. Too many weapons. Their record at home is stupendous. The crowd's going to be all out there behind them. I like the San Francisco 49ers in this one, but I hope it's close. And like I said, was it 27-23 I called, and you said 24-21?
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I will say this. If this was in Baltimore, I'm going the other direction.
Yeah, that could be.
Because
yes.
Because usually when you have a West Coast team come all the way to the East Coast, it changes everything. It makes it harder to play in that game with all the time changes. So because it's in San Fran, it's not that I don't give Baltimore Ravens a shot. I really do, because they are one of those teams in the AFC that have stood the test of time this season, have proven a lot of people wrong who maybe questioned the new offensive coordinator coming in, maybe questioned Lamar Jackson's development as a quarterback, because right now I'm seeing an even better Ravens offense than years prior. I'm seeing Lamar Jackson throw it a lot more. Yes, they still utilize the running game, and why wouldn't you? Because that's been a staple for them. But Lamar Jackson has been dotting it up pretty well. He's been throwing the ball to guys like Odell Beckham down the field, Zay Jones across the middle. And Rashad Bateman also kind of kicking in.
Yes, and Likely's been doing really well for him.
I was just going to say that Likely is also,
Andrews.
Since Andrews left the game, Likely didn't catch fire early, though, when he got in there. He was kind of lost a little bit in the shuffle with the offense. I don't know if maybe the coordinator didn't trust him enough, so they didn't create plays, but now it seems like he's getting involved as well. The defense for the Baltimore, also another tough defense. San Fran, this is going to be an epic battle. I feel like this is a prerequisite to the playoffs, possibly. Maybe the Super Bowl if both teams make it. And this is going to be a sneak peek of what could happen. So because San Fran is home, I got to give the edge to San Fran. How amazing the defense has played. The offense has been impeccable. They've been so difficult to stop. And even when they get into little situations where it gets a little harder for them, Kyle Shanahan always comes up with a play to get them out of it. Ravens, Niners, I'm going San Fran in this one. Not just because I don't have enough home teams picked, but I just think it's going to be super difficult for Baltimore to go to San Fran and steal the win. But if they do, I will not be shocked, because for some strange reason, AFC teams do extremely well against NFC teams. But this might be the alternative.
Yes, this could be the alternative to that whole thing. So there you go. There's our picks. It's been a stupendous show. It's the holidays, Joe. I'm excited to have that vacation.
Happy holidays, buddy.
Yeah, you too, buddy. It came up real quick upon us here, just like that. We're just like, holy crap, it is the holiday show. It is Christmas time.
Oh, hold on.
What do you got? Some more? We're going to read off some more comments?
Oh, the NFL's doing yet another investigation, but this time on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The league is reviewing teams' handling of Devin White's injury. So we've seen this numerous times.
Talked about that.
We've seen Patrick Mahomes and that kind of mysterious injury that kind of reared its head during the 1 week, and now the NFL is investigating the Chiefs on that. We're seeing this more and more this year, where the NFL's doing some investigations on concussion protocols, guys not being checked by the doctors, and they're still playing, and all those safety concerns where the NFL's like, hey, wait a second, we can't let this slide. We can't let that slide. now we're also seeing injury designations that really don't tell the full story. Sometimes they're not even on the injury report, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh yeah, well he had a bad wrist." Well, why didn't you list it?
Right.
So
Did
that's
they ever
interesting.
look into the Joe Burrow injury at all? Because again, people had kept bringing up the
that's
fact
been
that,
another one, too.
that he was like,
And that's the other
all
thing
of a sudden
too.
got injured. It seemed out of the blue, but then all of a sudden when they saw
Is
the tape with
Joe
the,
Burrow, we never heard an answer after that. They said they were doing an investigation. Now it can't possibly be still going.
Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? But it's kind of like swept under the carpet. Like, okay, we did an investigation. That's it. Like, what is the deal?
That's what people then forgot about it. Nobody's asking anymore, so it's all
that's fine.
swept under the rug.
Tom, he's hurt anyway.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't really matter. All right. So that's it. That's it for our show tonight. We
That's
definitely
right.
appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate everybody out there. Thanks for all the comments down below. This really makes our show. Like, this was the whole point of our show when we first started, is we wanted to be interactive. We wanted to give you guys a voice too on the channel. And huge thanks to everybody. Thanks to all our sponsors. Thank you guys so much, all you know-it-alls out there. And if you could do so, help spread the word. Help everybody that you know that loves football. Help them grow our football community over on YouTube. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do it all. Hit the notification bell. Let you guys know when we go live. You can also take us on your journey in day-to-day life anywhere you get your podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen
Really,
to us the
really
next day in the
appreciate
car. Absolutely. So thank you so much again. Enjoy your holiday, and we'll see you guys next time.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.